Okay, so we're here for payday.
Okay. Let me get to that. All right. We have the sales tax, which was $73,942.61.
That one just about as far up there as we've seen for a long time.
Then we have the jail sales tax, $63,905.51.
Last one,
Let's see, this is for,
not from
Yeah.
July, is it? No. No.
I believe you'll have one more.
One more?
Yeah.
Could have.
Because this would have been for June, no, this is the last one.
This could be June.
This was for June sales, yeah.
Mhm. So she-
So that should be the last one.
okay.
Okay, and then your payday is $1,227,506.54.
On the ambulance here, I see the crew funds are showing up now, and I had, when Lloyd was here, I'm sorry, Scott Lloyd was here, I had asked where the contributions were being put into the ambulance budget, and he didn't know, and he said that maybe you would have the ledgers or something to show that.
Okay.
And I let it go, but I would like to see it
Okay,
sometime.
so, I'm sorry, where are the crew funds?
Yeah, where are they, if I were to see the deposits for crew funds or
Mhm.
donations or whatever, because I know in other departments, they have a line and you
Okay.
see periodically.
Those will be on your budget reports that you get each month. And so normally those don't come out until after the month is closed, so you don't have that today.
That's right,
This is expense.
I understand that.
Mhm.
But
So-
I just noticed that it's here.
So they're
I
paying
just-
an expense out of it.
I understand that.
Mhm.
I'm just saying that I didn't get those reports, because I know here about 2 weeks we'll have one coming
Right.
up, the revenue.
Yes.
And recognizing that, I'm not seeing in the revenue
Mhm.
sheet any donations or any crew
There's an
funds
account
coming
line
in.
on your budget reports. And so when Rhonda puts the next set of budget reports out, that shows that I can show you where to see that.
Okay, I seen the line, I don't think you're understanding my question.
Okay?
I see the donation line, okay?
Okay.
I seen that, and I do see the crew fund lines. I don't see any dollars being put in there over the last year. Going back a year, they have been blank forever and ever and ever and ever. So it's not showing donations coming in or crew funds coming in. Now, I noticed the last couple months, it has been. But I was actually going back, so I was wanting to know where those monies were, because I thought
Okay.
maybe you were sticking them someplace else.
No.
Okay, so if it's not showing any, then I am to assume that there was none taken in.
No, I don't do that. I asked the ambulance office manager if they can start tracking, because we just put them in, when we put them in like as a daily receipt on our side. So I did ask them if they can start tracking that, and Jamie was gonna look into it to see how they're doing it. But that is, the income does show on their income lines for the department.
And I guess that is something that I'll have you show me exactly, because I can't see it.
Yeah, I'll have to look into it a little bit more, but I started it with them to see if they can have something that they're tracking out, so. Because I think when you asked for it, I think what I did was I looked and I didn't see that we were tracking it that way. So.
Right, because I was noticing that Ed had said that he does 200 to 300 EMT classes a year, which I think is probably a bit exaggerated,
Well,
but.
not EMT classes.
You're
talking
CPR classes.
Yeah.
And at $50 a head, that's mega money, and I just didn't see it coming in, so that's why I was asking.
Okay.
So I'm looking for that.
Okay, I will follow up with them and see if they have that tracked out.
Okay.
Sorry, I wasn't understanding what you were asking.
So I see we paid Peabody to mow 2 lots. That's all we built so
no.
far, was just 2?
That's one lot 2 times.
Okay.
That's for that Vine property.
Okay,
That's the one that I told you that they had already mowed once and they probably were mowing again.
okay.
With that question, Diane, we need as commission to make some action on those junk properties that's down there. And, you know, I think winter's coming up, and I think we gotta find time to probably to do something, you know. Personally, I think they need to be dozed down and in the shape that they're in.
And I would add Ramona to that list,
Yeah, yes. I mean, if you got one there too, I think that's,
more than one.
I'd like to see, I think that's how we can help all of our cities
Yeah.
in the county.
It's a problem, I
And
agree.
that they can't take care of all the blight situations that they have, and so
Mhm.
I personally, yes, I think when it's cold and nasty out, I think that's when some of our equipment needs to move in and do something. When they can't work on the roads, why, they can get into the cities and do some of this stuff to help us out a little bit.
I'm fine with that, I think that would be awesome. to
So we
start
don't have
taking
that,
care of that.
so we don't have that bill again. I'd like to, I think that people, there's some lots that people would buy if they're clear, but they don't.
Clear them all, yeah.
They don't wanna buy them with that $5,000 or $6,000 bill on
Yeah,
them to tear a
demo
house.
bill.
Yeah.
Well, you had asked me to work with Susan on getting those properties sold, so do you want to not do
Well,
that at this point?
Well, if we can sell them, fine. I mean,
Okay.
if we get them sold, somebody wants them, why, I
Okay.
guess that's
Better yet.
better yet, but,
Okay.
yeah.
But if they're
Mhm.
not sold at per time, then we're gonna proceed with the
Yes,
option.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you
Yeah.
for that clarification.
and.
I
if
met
it-
with her this week and we're
Okay.
gonna start working on it.
Let's say the sale would come up in March or April,
Mhm.
but through this winter, we've already cleaned them up. I think either way, I mean, they're up for sale, and they're gonna be, if we determine that this, and this properties need to come down, at least they'll know that it's gonna come down as of, through the winter time sometimes. Whether it's in Ramona, you said Ramona.
I was up at Ramona the other day, and it was a little eye-opening, so.
Is some of our properties up there?
I don't know, I didn't go into it that deep, it's just what I've seen, what, some properties, and I don't know who owns it and what, but
Yeah.
if there are any, I just.
Yeah.
There's probably 1 or 2 in every, or 3, in every community.
Well, my worst fear is what's gonna happen the next 5 years in these tax sales, because I think there's gonna be more. I think it's gonna be a problem.
I got a question, but I think I'll save it for Jesse.
Okay.
MCD on the answer.
And Tina, I did ask a question a while back. This is really detailed, these expenses on all these different departments.
Mhm.
And for me, I like to read every one of them and just study them a little bit. And getting on the day before the meeting at 4 or 5 o'clock at night, whatever.
I did have
is-
packets out by 1, but I understand that you would like them earlier.
Yeah.
We don't typically have them earlier because the payday process comes right up to the day before.
And we can't get the checks and things made a day or so early, even though we date them, don't issue them or anything until the time to get things.
We do, but it takes that much time to get it completed. So,
Kansas 911 under AP coordinating council, E911 call base package, well, that must have been part of the program, they programmed
Yeah,
it
that's
over
for their next gen, I think.
there. Oh, next gen, okay.
And that's paid out of the 911
Okay.
funds. There's gonna be another bill for that as well. I think
Okay.
it's over 20,000.
Okay,
That's what's paid through through the cell phone fees.
yeah.
And I know it's difficult to do, but the reason I'm bringing it up again today is it was brought to my attention, and I would like to see these receipts. But last month, we had paid the Economic Development Company, Economic Development, MCC EDC, $960
That
for
was,
travel.
no,
It says
that wasn't for travel. Those were for ads that they placed in the travel magazine for our Marion County businesses. So those were business ads that we paid. We also paid more. Randy Collett did all the ones for Marion and some of the others, and then the MCC EDC did it for some of the surrounding communities. And so the county paid those ads as we have for the past several
Okay.
years.
Okay.
We just,
So they're for ads. It says right here on the
that's
description.
for the Travel Kansas magazine.
Okay, it says TRVL, so.
Yeah.
You believe that it's, actually, the abbreviation, I thought it said things and travel,
Yeah.
so.
That was for those ads for the businesses
Okay.
that decided to advertise in that Travel Kansas magazine.
Okay. And I remember, I think we even talked about that.
Yeah, and I think I had given a copy of the, well, I don't remember if I had given a copy of the invoice.
What's our hourly pay we're paying our election workers now?
They're paid by the day, the poll workers are paid by the day.
By the
And
day.
it's $100 for their 13-and-a-half-hour day. And then the supervising judges get $125.
Okay.
And then they also, the supervising judges get mileage for the trips to the courthouse to pick up the ballots and to return the ballots.
Right. What I'm getting at, there's not even $10 an hour though, is it?
No.
No.
I wouldn't.
And we pay $15 for the guys that help set up. Right?
Yeah, oh, well, only in, there's only one community where we're having to pay. The rest of them are done by their city workers. And
Oh,
so if
okay.
they're done by their city workers, well, they're being paid by the city. We don't pay them. Our resolution boards that work on election night, they're paid $8.50 and $9.50
Okay.
an hour.
I knew it was 7 to 7, I see it was $100 there.
Well, yeah, but they're there by usually by 6:15
Oh, yeah,
at
I
the
understand,
latest, and
yeah,
then they work
yeah.
until they're done, so.
Well, it's good to have them people.
Oh, yeah. Diane, did you say that you weren't gonna go to the mid-cap board meetings anymore? Isn't that what you said, or are you still doing it?
I'm still doing it.
Oh, okay, so I think that's just for you.
Oh, okay, well, I don't mind sharing, it's nothing but the change in our policy for conflict of interest people, which we discussed at the last
Oh,
meeting.
it's-
but
okay.
I was just sharing it with.
Oh, okay, that's okay. I just thought it had an
Nothing
application
further.
or something in it.
I'm
I
still
just
going
wanted
to it, but I sure would like to have somebody else take it at the end of the year for sure, the
Okay.
beginning of next.
Where's
Maybe
it
the
at?
new chairman.
Where's it at?
That's down in, Augusta.
Augusta?
Yeah, it's a little hike. And then they have them so late, like the meeting starts at like 6:30, I'm sorry. So till you get back, it's a long night.
How many counties are involved in that?
I'm not sure exactly. They serve quite a few, but I don't know the exact number. You might want to consider that.
Where's Augusta?
Down by Wichita.
Yeah, I know it.
Mhm. It's a little walk.
Well, if I have to walk there, I'm not interested.
Okay, so Gayla is next.
Okay.
I thought you were gonna go on to something else. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, do you have a copy of it?
Yes,
Okay.
it was in their packets. She has
Could go to
the,
sleep last night, this is what you should be reading.
yeah, I know, it's that CMS agreement that was in your packet. That's what Gayla's here for.
Okay,
so.
in 2013, I became a certified application counselor, helping people who wanted to apply for the government health care insurance. And so at that time in 2013, we signed this same contract. And I thought that every year they would be sending this to me and we would have to sign it every year. Well, no, that did not happen. And so all of a sudden now this year, they're wanting to have everybody reapply again, sign the contract, and just follow the rules. And basically, in this, the key points are that, that we're going to keep people's personal information private. And how I do this is when people come in, they bring their information. The other thing is that you don't keep it, and I don't keep anything. They bring their information in, what their income is, their birthdays and all of that. We put it online, we put it in, after all that information is put in, then it says whether they get tax credits or not. And then we go and look at the plans that are available to them, and then they choose. Everything then is printed out and given to them, and they take it, and I don't keep any of it. The other piece in here, if you read, is this is set up is that if you're an organization that has many certified application counselors, that those people all have received their training and that they're all complying with the rules that the government has established for this program. Well, I'm it. Okay. So it's not like I'm training other people to do this. I'm the only one who's doing this. And I would say last year I maybe helped 6 to 10 people with this. And a lot of them, now that they're, last year there was a change because they weren't giving us big tax credits. So people came in looking because they wanted to see what the changes were. And so these were people who are already in the program. I had a few people who weren't in the program who came in, and I helped them with that. The problem with it is that the open enrollment is right during prescription drug enrollment. And this thing takes, I mean, it's at least an hour and a half to go through that application, get through it, find out what plans are available, and then for them to choose. So, so I don't help as many people just because of that open enrollment for prescription drug. So that's what the contract is just saying, you know, that I'm going to comply with their rules that they have and I have in the past, so.
Is this only when they turn 65, or is it?
No, this is for people that don't have health insurance through their employer or that kind of thing. And part of the reason why I did this is because you have a lot of people from 60 to 65 that maybe have lost their job or whatever, or they're in a job that, you know, when this all came about, didn't have health insurance, and so they did. And so I've, you know, helped people in that age group, and then I've also helped people who are younger. The thing is, I mean, I felt like it would be beneficial to have somebody here in Marion County, because otherwise then they have to go to Salina or Newton or somewhere else. So it was just something I felt like would be a service for people here in Marion County.
How many people a year do you serve?
Well, like I said, it was probably like about 6 to 10. It's
6 to
not,
10.
I mean, people, if they're computer savvy, they can just get on it and do it. It's just a lot of people who say, I don't know what I'm doing and I don't want to mess this up. And so then they come and see
I
me.
do that one.
So,
So this just needs the chairman's signature.
yeah.
And I will be honest with you, I did not have time to read this since I got,
Well,
since it was so late.
that's fine.
So I'll stay a little later today to read it and then sign it before I leave, if that's okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and I did send it to Brad too. to
That's
review.
fine. That's good. Okay.
So that's all I had.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so next is administrative business and lease
Okay.
purchase bid review.
Yep. So in your packet, you just had some basic information. You did have some information from the City of Marion on their streetscape project that's coming up.
Congratulations on your reward.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Very nice.
We did payday, change orders. We'll get to that up here, but we did have some change orders and something from the city today.
I need it just for review, it looks like.
Do you have Roger's extent printed out?
Uh-huh. Did you want to see it? Sure,
Yeah.
go ahead.
couple weeks ago, we had the federal exchange, and we have an additional little bit of money to exchange, and that's $11,131.32. So this is the same thing that we did before, just another round. So that just needs chairman's signature.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Did you want this, change the supplements? Okay. Deidre asked me to bring the agreement with the special ed for the vision screens, school screens, and it just needs chairman's signature. Thank you.
Yep, I did just read that one last night, so.
Okay, the next thing that I have is you've already named your voting delegates for K-Work and for KAC. But since we're a new K-Camp member, we also have a voting delegate and alternate for the K-Camp. And so we just need to take action to appoint your voting delegate.
I make a motion to approve the chairman to be our vice chair to be the two voting delegates, chairman first and vice chair for the chairman's not.
I'll go ahead and second that because I plan to attend these anyway, so. I have a motion by Randy and a second by Diane. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I think she has another form she's filling out first rather than this one. You have a different one. You have the same one, but your copy that you're filling out
This is something different. This is
Okay.
what you just did, and that,
is what we just,
no,
this is the K-Work trustee nomination. Oh, that's the,
that's something else,
that's the
Diane.
at-large, okay. All right.
We'll talk about that.
That's the voter.
I just need to put who you named, and then this requires your signature. That's why I'm doing it right now.
Okay,
Okay.
I have the wrong one.
It's okay.
But you approved it already.
What did I approve there for you since it's two votes?
Trustee nomination.
Okay,
wanna make
so
sure
you'll
what you were
sign
gonna
it
do.
right here. Okay. A couple weeks ago, you all named your voting delegate for K-Work. And then at that time, there is an at-large position that's open on the K-Work board, and you can nominate someone if you wish to for that at-large position. And that's what that form is for. When I brought that up before, you said you kind of wanted to wait a little bit. You wanted information about when they meet, and I do have that. It was in your packets. But they meet, it varies. It looks like they set their meeting schedule at the beginning of their meeting year, and it's on a Thursday, either the third or the last Thursday of every month. And they meet, some by telephone, and then, or some just at the location they meet in Topeka, except for their annual meeting, which is held in conjunction with KAC. So that's, K-Work is our workers' compensation pool.
Since that wasn't what Diane Jost mentioned at the meeting, was it? About the county clerk from Morris County being that?
Yes, she
Okay.
is. She's the at-large
Okay.
member right now. She's been on it for a long time. I think
Okay.
she does a good job, but.
But do we have to put her name in, or do we vote for her, or?
No,
Okay,
this is if you want to nominate someone from
nominate
Marion County
okay,
to
okay,
basically run against
yeah.
any other people from any of the other counties that are nominated. for that at-large position. So,
Well, I think she does a good job.
Is she willing to serve again, or?
It sounded like that the other night, because Diane was the
Yeah.
one, she was one, and she didn't turn it down there anyway.
Yeah.
okay, so did you want to bypass then nominating anyone?
Yeah, I would, I
Yeah,
don't care as long
I
as
think she does good.
she's,
Okay. All
Diane
right.
and Joe seem to be pretty happy with it.
Okay, I do have one salary sheet for the new part-time RN that Deidre hired.
And that's Wanda Manahan, starting at $25 an hour, effective 8/15 as a part-time registered nurse.
Okay. All right, then I have the minutes of August 27th.
Yep, we have the minutes of August 27th. And you've done a fabulous job on the minutes of August 27th, one page. Very good. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the August 27th minutes.
We got a motion by Kent, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Randy, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, aye.
Okay, the next thing that I have are that we did ask for bids for lease purchase for our new ambulance, and we did receive quite a few bids. I think the only bank, Marion County Bank, that didn't bid was Peabody. That was the Vintage Bank. So. The folder has their actual bids in it, and this sheet is just a summary. There's one for each of you, so that you can look at it. So the amount that we are asking to have financed is $155,225. So that's the principal amount.
Mhm.
And you'll see the bank names, the rate that they proposed. If they have a document fee, you'll see that in the next column. And then the total interest over the 3-year period, and then the grand total cost includes everything.
Okay, so what we have here then is the Empress Bank in Hillsborough are offering 3.48% with a $250 fee. Community National Bank in Burns has a 3.5% with a $100 fee. Cottonwood Valley in Florence is 3.2% with a $300 fee. Marion National is 3.5 with a $100 fee. Tampa State Bank in Tampa has a 2.4% rate with no fee. Central National Bank in Marion has 3.9 with a $150 fee. Hillsborough State Bank in Hillsborough has a 4.1%, no fee. And Citizens Bank in Gossel is 3.7 with a $500 fee. And that's what the rates are being offered to us.
And pay plan, how long is we going for, 3 years?
3 years.
3 years,
Mhm.
right, okay. Well, unless there's some other discussion, I believe Tampa State Bank's pretty well the player as far as I see here. I'd make a motion to accept Tampa State Banks.
Okay, I have a motion by Randy to accept Tampa State Bank at 2.44% with no fee. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Kent. I'm gonna abstain because I bank at that bank. So, with the two, motion still carries.
And they didn't vote.
Aye.
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 Three.
So I am so tired. I stayed up late last night trying to read this whole packet. And didn't get it all read.
So that was 2-0 with Diane abstaining?
Correct.
May I have the folder back, please?
Need these
And
back?
No.
I'd like to, look at that a little bit later. I'd like to look at some of those just before
Oh,
I leave. Since
sure.
I'm gonna stay and read that contract.
Okay, just, I need to have it, so just don't take it with you.
I'll try not to.
Okay. Okay, I think that was all that I have right now.
That's everything that you have?
It is.
Okay. So next on the agenda then will be Road and Bridge, Jesse Ham.
Morning.
Area
Morning.
fuel bid. And Department of Business.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Area fuel bids, they can be split up.
Pretty much same, pretty much. Okay, so as I see it, area 1 and 2 would be to co-op grain. Area 1 would be $3,348.80, and area 2 would be $4,000, I'm assuming that's a 7?
Yes.
$4,761.90 for area 1. And then for area 3, I would say X at $4,697.55.
Is that your motion?
That's my motion.
Aye, second.
And second by Randy, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do you have anything else, Jesse?
Yes, I have a little bit of information I want to pass on to you three. These pictures kind of hard to see them. This is the 4-mile stretch of the West Tampa Road, 330th. Back this summer, July, there was a truck and trailer that hauled the transformers for the wind farm. Take 2 miles of that road. It was approved. We had a meeting beforehand, Kirk and Michael, myself, and Anel approved. There is, what's going on in those painted pictures there is there's some spiderweb cracking going on. We did a 1-month inspection following the 2 trucks that took that. The 1 truck went 1 day, and a few days later, the 2nd truck went through there on a 2-mile stretch from Jade to Limestone is the route, the 2 miles on 330th. We decided to do a 1-month inspection after we did a pre-trip on it, pre-inspection and then post-inspection every week for 1 month after they traveled it. There was damages done to it, and we have completed that inspection, or Kirk and Michael has, and we gave them the option of what they wanted to propose to us. They felt like crack sealing would be good. We felt that crack sealing would be good in some areas, but there's also 2 areas, and that's what you're seeing there, that need to be patched. So Tanner with Kirk and Michael said, he talked to me, and I said, as far as crack sealing, I think we all liked Circle C that went south of town here. That could be one company that could do that. But as far as the patchwork, he worked up all the pricing, the patch material, the crack seal, of those damaged areas. Pavement markings, mobilization, traffic control. The total number estimate quote was $11,135 to fix those problems that truck created. We told them that we would prefer to have patching done. They said, okay, how do you want to go about it? We offered to say, you know, if we find the contractor, if you just wanted to write us a check for these damages, they said they would be willing to do that and have Brooke and Michael work with APAC to get some patching done on this. And then that way we can get some crack sealing done at a little later date this year yet. So that was the number he came up with that it would cost to fix this.
Give me a rundown of what you're gonna do though, what you wanna do, Jesse.
What I want to
Well,
do.
what the contractor is gonna do to those two areas, what I'm asking.
Yeah, they have,
So you've had contractors look at it already, or just?
no contractors yet. He has sent out a email to APAC to ask for a quote from them to see what it cost and an ideal way of patching it.
Okay, so they're not recommending that way to patch it yet.
They will if they don't, they're gonna let them do. He did tell them what kind of asphalt and stuff like that and how much tonnage and how much footage there is. But he has not told them exactly how. He was gonna see their plan first and then go over it with me.
The reason why I'm asking is, or if you're gonna bow mag that out, or are you gonna grind it out with a grinder and then?
They're gonna cut all that out. They're gonna go, cause that's about 6.5 inches thick
Right,
of asphalt.
right.
So my understanding patching it is they're probably gonna have to go every, I'd say 6.5 inches
Okay.
for sure.
Well, that's,
I would think.
I just wanted to know how he was gonna do it, because if
Yeah.
you're gonna put an inch on it or so, we ain't doing no good.
I'm not speaking for him. I just,
Yeah.
I wanna first find out
Right, and that's
what
fair.
they're.
Yeah,
That's
this
fair.
is all being done by Tana with the Kirk and Mike.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So Jesse, my question on this is, with the way that road is cracking from one end to the other and has been for a while, how do we know that those trucks are what caused the damage? I mean, do they actually admit that they know
Because,
that their
as
trucks?
I said, we did a pre-inspection.
No, I understand, but even though you did a pre-inspection, there's still a lot of farmers and trucks and stuff
Correct.
using that road. How do you know that their truck is what?
Well, number one, Kirk and Michael wanted to do 6-month post-inspection after this truck. I said that's absolutely not fair because we were going through harvest. We got all this traffic with grain haulers, everything. I said that's not even fair. So we all came to an agreement. I know Annelle didn't like that idea. We all came to an agreement at that time that 1 month was fair enough. If there would be cracking after that truck would go through, more than likely that truck caused it. And they have agreed on that. We've agreed on it. Kirk and Michael's all agreed on that. I mean, these showed up after he went, that truck went through.
So that's Kirk and Michael acting on behalf of your road maintenance.
No, I
agreement.
understand that, but I'm just saying, I know that road is cracking all up, at different areas, and I'm just kinda, I just hate to, I mean, if they're in favor, and they say that they know that they created that, that's fine, but just because there's a crack identified, because I've been taking pictures of that road now for quite some time, and without them being on the road, cracks are disappearing.
Yeah.
How do we know who
Yeah.
done it? And this doesn't look like any different crack than what I've been.
Actually, that's
pictures of.
not true, because you got like I said, those pictures aren't that great, but you got spider webbing that were, that weight has really hurt that area. Yeah, you're seeing cracking on that road, so am I, and that's why we've talked about getting it crack sealed this year.
This is the westbound side?
This is a 4-mile stretch to the west.
Westbound side, or eastbound side?
Oh, I think, east, traveling east on that road. Well, are you talking the West Tampa Road?
The way they,
West Tampa
the way
Road,
they
yeah.
took it
That's
out
on the
was
south
to the
side.
west.
Yes, they went to the west, yes. But you gotta remember, it
That
took
was a
up
wide-
both
Yeah,
lanes.
That was a wide load, it was both.
Yeah, that filled up the whole road.
Yeah.
Didn't they unload something from Tampa and take
Yes,
it out?
yes.
So it had to be on the
This is
westbound
on the
side.
south side.
No, you gotta remember, it took up both lanes.
Oh, okay.
It's
Okay.
on the south
Excuse
side.
me.
Yeah, it
I'm
took
sorry.
up both lanes.
I'm sorry.
It was 96 wheels on
Okay.
this.
Yeah, I know it was a big one. I didn't get to see it, but I'm sorry, my fault. I thought it was all on, they traveled on one lane.
Correct, yeah, so,
But you said Annelle does agree that their
Yes.
truck caused this damage?
yes. They have agreed to everything that we have talked about, the pre-trip, the or the pre-inspection and the post-inspection, and have even thrown out ideas of crack sealing. They have owned up, they've been great to deal with on this subject. So they're not arguing, they're not feuding. Kirk and Michael's working great with them. There hasn't been any argument about this whatsoever, and they already have a check on the way for this amount.
Just interested in how they repair it. That would be the only thing to me, with it feathered in so that you're not just a hole. You cut out X hole right there, as we all know, that in the truck traffic that you're talking about, farmers and whatever, that everything coming into Tampa, it just starts to pounding on that hole right there. And I didn't know whether they're going to taper in, whether they're just going to cut out down there. No base work.
Yeah.
I doubt the way they do roads that they would do that.
I don't know.
I just wouldn't be my concern at this time. Not from what I've seen, the way they work on their
Well,
roads.
I'd fully expect that engineering would address that
Yeah.
all the way down.
Well, I just hope that because I'm quite sure there's two people sitting right there that know if you go out and cut X hole here, what you can see it on our blacktop roads every day, that hole takes a beating and just goes down, so. And I don't know that I want the base touched if it's not a problem in the base, if it's just up there.
I guess with this being said, with the patchwork, once we get all the details lined
Yeah.
out on that, with it, can we go ahead with who Kirk and Michael recommends to go ahead with patching and get this taken care of this year with that money that's being sent in?
Certainly.
Yeah.
Okay. That way it's done and over with?
Yep.
I didn't get a nod from you. Okay with that?
Yeah, go along with the engineering, that'd be fine, you recommend that.
Okay. Good. All right. Otherwise, that's my business for today.
I had one question, Judge.
Yes.
When we do road rebuilds, I noticed we had some fairly large bills with JL Unruh. Do they do most of the hauling for
Yes.
all the road rebuilds?
Yes.
That keeps our trucks off of rebuilds then.
Yes. We seem to get done quicker by
Is it
having.
more efficient to do it that way?
Yes. We're not getting other things done while, if we're stuck, have all our trucks on our own rebuild.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then I have a question for you as well, and I've had several phone calls on this. I had one today, this is a man named Dick McClenda,
Okay.
and he's concerned about the sunflower seeds, sunflowers that are growing out of control. He said he actually has to get out on the road to see one way or the other before he can start out. And I know this, the sunflower, this is a crazy year for sunflowers, but all over the county they're awful.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we need to probably do something about these sunflowers, cutting them down. Or
Can I buy some mowers then? I got one mower.
I thought you were going to. I thought you were going to buy a mower or something at one point. We
I'd
discussed
love
it
to.
at one point, but
I just need permission to go buy some equipment.
do you have the money to go
Yeah.
buy it?
I have money.
Well then, why don't you go buy it?
Sweet.
We've been operating most of the summer with one.
We just had one, well, we got one boom mower and then we got one batwing mower. And the batwing mower keeps breaking down on us. It's just, they were bought used years ago and they are just taking a pounding and a beating and I can't,
Some of
Can't
these
keep up.
roads.
So would you replace the batwing?
yeah, I mean, no, I need to keep what's running. I need to keep that and get rid of the one that we've used for parts. We got two batwings and we've used one for parts now because it just,
We're not-
to try to keep it up and
We're
going.
not talking about another boom mower then.
No, I'd rather use a bat. We can cover a lot more miles a lot quicker with a batwing.
You have some roads over in the Lehigh area, and County and stuff that are just awful tight. Would that work there? I don't know
Well,
it'd be tough.
You can't.
But those roads over there, the sunflowers are out of control,
Mhm.
and they really need to be mowed.
Now, another thing. Now, are you like talking mainly asphalt or are you talking just any
I'm
road?
talking roads that
'Cause
people travel on.
We're trying our best to keep up with asphalt and that has been unsuccessful with this year.
This last 2 months.
What we try to do at the end of every year, before the snow starts flying, is try to get the blade men in a mower. Because we've always had around 3 mowers. the one boom mower and the two bat wings, and we try to get them spread out amongst about 2 weeks per blade man to hit all the roads they can in their section before the snow starts flying. So usually, yeah, I mean, there's been some cases where some blade men, if they see a mower sitting, they're going to grab it because they got problems such as in sunflowers and stuff. That happens a few times. But usually it's at the end of the year when we pass our mowers out.
So if you
Before
get,
the snow.
and I know in some cases, those sunflowers, well, in many cases, especially over in that area, in the Minnow and Lehigh Township and so on, those sunflowers are so huge, they can't really even blade the road right as far as
no.
getting the, because they're terrible.
It's blade man's worst animal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
And then the deer, you know, any animals, I mean, they jump out, it's right there in front of you. I mean, I'm totally against them. I'd love to
against
get
what, the deer or the sunflowers?
sunflowers. Well, I don't wanna hit a deer either with my vehicle.
Pretty right behind
So, yeah,
That's where they should be.
yeah, I want them gone too.
Yeah, so if we buy a couple of lawn mowers or whatever you have money to do there, mowing,
Sweet.
then we can get out and get started.
We can tackle more than what we have been, I would firmly believe we can.
That would be great, especially if we can identify some of the really bad areas and hit them first. Because, I mean, they're really, it's terrible. Yeah, I know they're all bad. I know.
The one issue though is tractors.
Well, I was gonna say, do you have two tractors that you can?
The
We
white
got
is,
two tractors that would work,
okay, yeah, the
But then
white's
we got-
broke down now.
if we go back to rebuilding.
That was the other issue that we were running into. We went with rebuilds and our tractors were pulling our sheep's foots and rollers. So we've had a total of 3 tractors. One of them is broke down, blew the transmission in it. It's an old tractor. So we gotta get that fixed. But the other 2 newer ones have been on our rebuild. So that's why we have not been, it's been caught up on a rebuild. So lately, it's been out mowing a little bit because we haven't been doing the rebuilds lately. So that was another issue for 2.5 months, that our tractors were on the rebuilds and not out mowing either.
So are you saying we need another tractor?
I'm thinking, do we need just to hire another man to do mowing? Especially if it's temporary part-time something, to get onto the mowing part. And then that way they distract your, if you had somebody out there just mowing these roads all the time.
And that's what I've usually had, is 1 or 2 guys just dedicated just to do that. I think next year, I have someone already that really wants to do it. This year it didn't work out. To work this year for what I call them seasonal, 1,000-hour kind of guy. This year I didn't have really that option as far as people come in wanting to do that. So I do like that idea of having 1 full-time person, not full-time,
Well, I
seasonal
understand
help.
Seasonal, yes.
You know.
Would that be something that you could maybe take on yet, to maybe start, because it's only gonna get worse,
Yeah.
and it's already worse, so,
We had the one hired, then he left us.
Yes, he
was
left
doing
us.
it.
Actually, I could call him back. He's looking for a job again.
So Jay?
No, Jeff, Selhorn.
Oh, no, this is different.
Oh.
Connor
Oh, okay.
was the one I was thinking of, but he
Yeah,
left.
he left us.
well, it sounds like you have some options.
Yeah, I got some options. We
Or
can
even
get him back
advertise,
in.
even if you advertise, and you don't know who would just, I mean, there's somebody out there that
Yeah,
would do
Yeah,
it.
he'll need to run a little ad.
Yeah,
mower guy.
Yeah.
Mower
Yeah.
person.
yeah, and,
Can I apply?
Mower person.
So on this tractor that's broke down, is it worth fixing?
Huh?
This tractor that's broke down, is it worth fixing?
I think
or
it
do we need to
is.
replace
We
it?
need it. Yeah, we just need to split it apart and get the tranny fixed, and clutch or whatever's wrong.
How
with
old
it.
is that white?
It's pretty, how old is it, James?
Oh,
It's
it's,
been around since.
1980, I bet.
it's in the 80s, because it's an old,
It's been around a long time.
it's a good tractor. I mean, it's probably worth fixing.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
well, I
it
just
is.
didn't know if, is it worth fixing or?
Yeah.
I think it is.
And I didn't want to spend 30,000 on a transmission. I don't know.
Exactly, yeah, we'll look into that.
See, we got a hold in, and he's got to tear it apart yet, but
Find out
it's
exactly.
been kind of trying to get the ceiling done,
Yeah.
keeping everything running there is interesting, so, but it's going.
so you're gonna get some lawnmowers and
Yeah.
maybe get somebody hired
I'll
to
get
start
something
mowing?
going. I'll
Well,
start working on that
The
too.
red case was bought because the case, they're international, the one that the red tractor that you pull with, that was bought because if they offered a dollar deal for us to use it for 6 months or something.
Oh, really?
Then we went ahead and purchased it, but it was for road rebuilds. And then the yellow tractor, you got the yellow, what is that in the Challenger?
Didn't that
That's
come
the
from
one.
Park and Lake?
Yes,
Yeah,
that come from
Park
Park and Lake, because we bought it, it was too big, you guys was looking for another one to help on road rebuilds and pull mowers in. Nick Randy bought the mowers at the time then,
Yes.
and we put them behind these two tractors. The one, the red tractor, International, is that what it is? Yeah, International, and then the Case, and then the Challenger, so that's why we have two decent tractors right now. But the old white has been here long before that on road rebuilds too, so if it's good, well, and like you guys said, if it's good.
Well, see, it doesn't have a PTO on it. I mean, it's just for rebuild, the full
Okay.
roller, I mean, it's just a roller tractor.
Just a roller tractor, okay.
But a batwing mower will require a bid, won't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to go get some bids. I'd like to go with the higher price Schultes that KDOT's using. They seem, I've heard a lot of people say those are your cat's meow as far as durability and cutting and whatnot, but I think they're gonna be a lot higher price though too, so. I think the land prides are good too, so I'll go get some bids and get that ball rolling.
So even in your hiring of people that do the mowing, we need to train them how to take care of the equipment. Those mowers can get beat up pretty easy if they don't
Yes.
know what they're doing.
And I would have to say, as far as our Challenger and our Case, they have really stayed in really good condition. Even our Deere boom mower, we've had mechanical failures on that, but as far as the condition of the tractor, people have really tried to. And that's what we used to have. We used to have two guys that were retired that used to run full-time mowing, and they really took care of the equipment, and that's nice when you have someone taking care of it like it's their own.
I know one of them,
Lasts longer than.
when he was working here, the guy mentioned Jay. I jumped up in just to say hi to him one day, and I thought I was gonna have to take my shoes off inside the cab. So that's how clean the inside was. I mean, if you find that on a tractor, that tells something about the operator. That was very, he did a super job.
So I just have one more thing to think about, and that is, out at the lake, we do very little road work out there, and some of those back roads and things I know are terrible, and I know there's different situations. Unfortunately, some of them roads are no wider than sidewalks, it seems to me. But still, I think we need to really look at the lake area and start thinking about what we're gonna do for roads. Because I don't think we can keep turning our head from them.
As long as like the gravel parts and stuff like that, where
Yes.
people how to live and stuff.
Yes.
Now, have you talked to Isaac? Has he talked to any of you three? Him and I are
I
gonna be.
have not talked to Isaac about it yet. It's just something that I noticed as I was out there a couple days ago walking and stuff. And then, of course, some people had approached me about there, and they're terrible.
He came to me and asked me if we would be willing to help, and we've already met. We've went and looked at roads inside of Lakeshore Drive that we gotta take care of some washouts. And then I even told him about some residents that have been calling me that those roads aren't really our responsibility. I said, but we need to go look at them if we're gonna be out here helping you. We probably need to address some, so we went and looked and they were pretty bad. So I'm totally on board of helping Isaac. I told him to help me by just let me get the seal season over with, and every day we'll send 1 or 2 trucks to him, and his guy will run the box. I think there's gonna be a few cases where we're gonna have to use our backhoe to help him on some things. I don't think their box blade's gonna be able to do it, but I believe we got a good game plan of taking care of some of these issues. Yeah, he's, you know, he asked me and we rode together and he showed me a lot of stuff, and I think there needs to be a lot of maintenance done.
Yeah.
So I'm all on board of helping,
Okay, good, because
and we already have a game plan.
good, I'm glad to hear that. Like I said, I didn't take the time to talk to
Okay.
Isaac, I was busy, and so, but I know them roads are terrible, and we haven't done a lot.
Correct. There's quite a bit of washouts, and it's ugly in
Yeah,
some
and
places.
just-
Actually, some places that are some safety issues. So,
Well, I'm glad to hear that you'll
yeah,
do
we're,
that.
yep, we got a good game plan, I think, so.
I was just running around out through the country a couple days ago, or something, when I texted you about, what was that,
130th and Limestone.
I didn't get a chance to go north on Limestone, go north. it looked like there's a lot of wash down through that area. I mean, that's the reason why it was washed.
When you text me, I called my blade man, he said he's aware, he was gonna head out the next day. He said every time it rains, I have problems with that road, so
It's-
I have not seen it. but-
Yeah, take a look
Have you
at
seen
it.
it?
It's been like that for, I mean, it's hard to, it's gonna take a major rebuild next.
Well, that's what I looked at, I just said, what are we gonna do with it? Because just touching it, I don't know if it's gonna help us.
I'm
But
sure it
what
has.
I'm getting at is we've got the farm season, or bean season coming up, and it looks like there's a lot of grain right in that area, so
Yeah.
that's what I
I know he says he's gotta fix it about all the time, but,
Yeah,
I mean, it's gonna take,
it's gonna take something in through there.
because it's, like, it hasn't been just the last few years, it's been last.
Well, it looks
20
like
years.
it's a T section, I believe it's a T intersection.
It's the correction line.
Okay, correction line T, and then the one goes north and it gets lower as all the water comes from the east, the west, and the south, and goes north towards probably a creek on down there. I didn't run on down through there to see.
It's just,
I mean, you can tell that it's just washing everything out as it goes, so it's something to look at.
I'm not picturing it right now, so I'm gonna have to go look
Yeah,
at it.
yeah, just look at it, 'cause
It's gonna, we'll have to build that whole intersection up to hold the water from coming across from the south.
well, I know one thing, if there was a police chase through there, and the
It's slowed
person
down.
being chased didn't know it, or our officers didn't know it, we're gonna have a problem, I mean, a serious
And
problem.
he fixes it as soon as it's dry enough to get out there and fix
Yeah,
it.
I understand that, I'm not complaining about that, I just wanted to see if we could get something,
But, yeah, it's gonna,
see what you guys recommend to fix it.
And
we'll have to
actually,
put some new
yeah,
culverts in there too.
it's good you brought that up, because you said bean season. Actually, it's almost time for farmers to get cattle out of pastures and stuff, and I know a lot of these roads that go to pastures, haven't seen a blade in a year.
And they need to
And,
sort of,
yeah, they need
I
to
know-
get out there and
I
do
know
it.
Smith told them to start hitting it every road, because, I mean, that's out
Every,
here.
every road,
Good.
yes, because the phone calls are gonna start coming in.
yeah.
And I know that's gonna be
And the
next
spring,
week.
not too far.
So just harvest, did you say?
No.
harvest and pasture.
Getting cattle
Okay.
out of pastures. Some of
Yeah.
those roads that are, they're minimal maintenance, or not even minimal maintenance, but not bladed, because, they just go to pasture.
And that's why the last 2 weeks we've been trying to get, we're making sure all of our blade men in back in their section, because all this is coming up. We've got to get these roads
Yeah,
in better shape. So
yeah, because most of them, I know you cannot take a cattle pod down, or so, I know we can on any of ours, so, but, and I know if you could just adjust that, too,
Yep.
because that's coming right around the corner.
Yes,
It's a lot of stuff to adjust.
I know it.
So
We're gonna
there's
get
no
it.
time to waste,
I know it. Got to go now.
yeah.
Good work.
I have a question.
Oops.
Yes.
Diane requested a special
Mhm.
session coming up in September.
Okay.
My question is, are we gonna be following a formal agenda? Or, because you've invited the public, and I have no problem doing it, as long as we're following a formal agenda. I just don't want it to be a, let's beat on Jesse.
Second that.
I'm just saying that I have a lot of people calling about roads, and I'm just saying we need to have a work session, okay? And the public would be invited, so what they're gonna say, I don't know. I can't control what anybody says. So,
Then
the
that's-
agenda would be a work session on the roads. I was going to make that for September 13th, you gave 3 days if you were available on that, and that was one of the days.
Right.
And September 13th in the afternoon would work the best. But to your question, I mean, I don't know how you expect anybody to control what the public would say.
So that's
I
not
can't
really a
control.
work session then, that's more of a public forum, because a work session, you would want to know what you're gonna be discussing. You would wanna have
Discussing
information,
roads.
but specific things that you would want to have information available so that you can work through planning
Mhm.
and, so,
That's fine.
so what you're talking about is more of a public meeting or a public forum, is
Well, I want the
because if
public
you
to
don't
come to
have.
all the meetings, yes, I do. But there are some people who want to come and talk about roads, yes. And I invite them to come to these meetings here
Sure,
all the
but do you see what
time,
I'm
so-
saying? If we don't have an agenda where you can
Put
actually
it on
work on
agenda,
something.
Put it on an agenda, that's fine.
And
I have no
would-
problem with it.
I would tell you that I don't mind hearing concerns, but what we did out at the county lake hall out there was a beat on everybody's session. And so
That's not what we want here. We're wanting to listen to their concerns. And so, if they're gonna call out people by names or whatever, I'm not interested in listening to it.
Well, okay, so here's the deal. So there are people, and I've been saying this every single meeting. I get tons of phone calls. And now my phone calls have expanded from not only my district, but First District, because nothing's being done over there. Okay, and people throughout are really ready to rebel because their roads are so bad. And there have been meetings, and nothing is getting done. Nothing, what do you want people to do? I'm not saying they're gonna come here and beat on Jesse, I'm not saying that. And no, I'm not advocating any type of violence or anything like that. But I'm thinking that we need to all get together and see what these problems are and address them, because we can't keep blowing the taxpayers off. I've driven down these roads. They're despicable. The people cannot get in and out of their homes. They can't get to the main highway. You talked about 130, yes,
And
it's
why aren't these
terrible.
calls coming to me? If it's that
Okay,
bad,
I'll tell you,
because
Jeff.
I don't have it on my tickler system.
Got it, but you and Mr. Becker had a meeting with these people about 3-4 weeks ago.
These people are in his
That's
district,
what I'm saying. That's
south
what I'm
end of his
saying.
district. You're
That's what
saying
I'm
north.
I understand, that's what I just said, if you heard what I just said. I'm getting calls from people from his district, because they are talking to you, or they have been over the months or whatever. They even brought in their commissioner, and nothing is being done. So now they're calling me, and I'm happy to help, but how am I gonna solve it if we don't get together and work it out?
But Diane, what I'm saying is that meeting is the same thing as the township committee that got put together. I answered every one of their questions. They drilled me and drilled me and drilled me that whole evening. And
Yes, yes.
it comes down to money and manpower, and I don't, they want all this stuff done, but I don't see them shooting any great ideas my way that I can maybe take into consideration.
Actually, what I'm talking about here now, we're not talking about beautifying roads. We're talking about getting roads passable to where they're
And
utilized.
that's what
I have pictures of some of these roads, Jesse, and they are not acceptable. And I'm not here to beat up on you, and I didn't bring this up. I'm just saying,
I
I've seen
understand.
them.
Which roads are they? Do we have them on our list? I mean, we need to know.
Well, you,
That's
were you
kind
at
of what a
that-
work
excuse-
session should
Excuse
be.
me, were you at that meeting with him as well? Okay, so he was not, he does not know.
I was,
You were there.
I was at the meeting, it was what,
Yes.
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
something like that.
Okay, Jesse had a lot of questions.
Mhm.
Most of them were the same kind that have been coming up.
Mhm.
He has put together at least a good idea of how he wants to start addressing some of this. And to me, I think he answered all the questions we had. I mean, it wasn't just the township representatives that there was some other people there.
Yes.
And I've been out on the roads with those people.
Mhm.
And I think Jesse has a plan. Maybe kind of what I would like to see is that plan. I mean, of course, you already have your for rebuilds and chip seal going out. But this part included work on these
Dirt roads.
substandard dirt roads.
They get
And-
attention, yes.
And what I would like to see, rather than just we get a bunch of people in and start arguing, is that he puts this down on paper, makes it public to us, maybe puts it on the website.
They want the roads fixed. They don't want to read something on the website. They want the roads fixed to where they can drive down them.
Well, and he has a plan for that.
And that's another thing I brought up is, all of you, everyone in this room, myself included, the general public, we all want gravel roads rebuilt in our county. Am I wrong by saying that? We would like to see.
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay. Doing that, we don't have the money to contract that out. So I have to pull my blade men in to do the rebuilds, which in that township meeting we attended, they were all in agreement and I was too, and I'm the one to blame. But those blade men were out of their sections for 2 to 3 months. Nothing had been done.
2 to 3 months they did not have
Exactly.
any work on their road.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I know,
And so you, and
So,
you.
so what's the fix? Do we contract the rebuilds out so my guys can stay in their sections?
But Jesse, I'm not asking for rebuilds, these are dirt roads.
But how do you
To
get
get-
maintenance done to those dirt roads when I got all my guys tied up on rebuilds?
Hire more guys if that's what it takes.
Then let me hire people.
I've never stopped you from hiring people. If that's what it takes, hire people.
Well, that's a commission
That's a-
decision, that's
that's
just
the
not your
budget.
decision.
We're
That
talking,
is a
we're talking,
budget.
okay, I understand that, but you
But
have
you
a
wanted to
budget.
cut the budget this year, so what?
But I want to cut the frivolous spending, like having you and your other person drive around in a brand new truck when our people can't get out of their homes and get down the road. I mean, we are supposed to be the servants of the people.
That
I have to
equipment-
tell you, my roads up in my district are great compared to those people. I feel sorry for them. Those people, those roads are terrible compared to roads in my district.
I'm not
And I'm not
denying
bragging,
anything.
but I'm giving you credit for that because our roads are,
But, and,
I didn't know they were that
so,
bad.
okay, so they've been contacting me. I told them what my game plan is. That ain't good enough. They still gotta come in here. I have a game plan within this next month of really tackling a lot of roads. Within
And
another month and a half. They won't, I can't get it fixed on one day. I've gotta get other things done so I can get guys to, first we got, you just said it, harvest and hay and all that stuff. They just gotta get them passable right now before I can do my big plan that I have. Which is gonna be a month, 2 months from now.
So are they gonna get them passable?
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, that was my question. Are you gonna, because they're not asking for anything special. They're not asking for big elaborate roads. They're asking just a road they can drive on.
Well, bottom line here, if somebody's got a road they can't get down to, have they called in?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
then that person
The
needs.
meeting, they just had the meeting with him
No,
and
no,
they had the
no, no.
commissioner.
No,
If, I mean, if
How
it's
many
a if
times
it's a
is
dirt
it
road,
passable?
if they call in and it's not passable, why can't they call in and say, I can't get down my road?
I did not hear one person at that meeting say they had a road that was totally impassable. I heard, the conditions.
There's concerns, there's
Yeah.
conditions, but
And there are some roads with the type of equipment that people have nowadays, they can't get down them just because of sheer size.
Yeah.
But Jesse laid out a plan of which I
That's
think,
not what I was hearing.
well, I was at the meeting and the people that were there, I think were very receptive because he brought up some ideas that I don't think that they knew about or hadn't thought about. That's why I say is if maybe this information that Jesse has would be put down on paper, put on the website, get it out wherever it needs to go, and then we can follow it as a commission, and if there, questions start popping up, this isn't being followed or something, okay, let's talk about it.
Okay, so see, we're hearing two different stories, and this is the whole thing right here. You're saying, yeah, and I'm not.
No, I wasn't saying that people were pleased with roads.
no, I'm not
Okay,
saying that either.
okay, there you
Far
go.
from it.
Okay, far from it. Okay, fine.
And I
So-
would agree with that.
Okay, so, see, now we're getting down to the nitty gritty here a little bit.
And I'm agreeing that
We're
totally.
trying to get the guys back into their sections, getting it done. It's gonna take time.
And these are not unreasonable people, and I kind of
Absolutely
resent
not.
this thought
But
that
when
they
you
are. I
haven't
mean,
been in your
they-
section for so long, it falls apart quick when they're out doing another job. And
And,
gotta
you
come
know-
I
back.
know that, but like
So we
I
gotta
was
give them
saying,
time to get caught up.
but what I'm saying is, when your road, when it rains, and you can't get down your road to go wherever you gotta go, that's kind of not acceptable when you're paying taxes, and that's all rural people get for their tax dollars, is a road. That's it.
But see, mainly what I heard was dirt roads. No one's living on a dirt road, and you're talking someone leaving their
Dirt
driveway.
dirt and rock, both of them, because I have pictures of you have some rock roads out there.
Mhm.
And they're not crowned right, they're not cut right, and every one of them have great big runs of rock like this, and there's a huge pile of rock over here in the bank. I mean, I could go shovel it up and put it in the back of my truck. It's that much. And so then you have those, and I'm not talking about a little rut, I'm talking about a rut that, a little car would not go, a truck or a tractor would, sure. And I'm not talking about farming, I'm talking about people just driving this road every single day.
Which,
And
if it's a
then
gravel
it's
road,
some-
costs a lot of money to rebuild.
And I think going
And
forward,
I'm running out of rock money.
I would
Yes,
think
you
next
said that,
year
I
we
hear
might.
that. So what do we do when we run out of rock money, just stop?
I'm saying we need to try to make them passable and safe. We still gotta do maintenance and try to fill them up with whatever we got. Now, as far as doing the full rebuild, I
I'm
can't
not
consider that.
asking for any full rebuild. I'm not asking for that.
But
and neither
what
are
I'm
they.
saying is those are Band-Aids in that next rain. That's
Not on
gonna
a dirt
happen
road,
again.
Not on a
On a
dirt
gravel road,
You
it
get
can't
in
be.
there and cut ditches and stuff and let that water get off the road, that would by far
I know,
help.
but we got all these other rebuilds. We
Well,
got
there's
other
no
Okay,
things
people with
going
dirt
on.
roads to
okay,
get out though,
okay,
right,
so-
Diane?
Some of them don't.
Wait a minute. There's no people with dirt roads that has to get out on a dirt road.
Sometimes you do, yes. Sometimes you do.
Their way out's
They
all
should have a
rock way out.
in and
Everybody should
out.
have a rock way out.
And I'm just got done telling you, some of those rock roads out there, which is their only access, are
That's the
in
ones you
sad
need to be worried
shape.
about. You're saying something about dirt roads.
I'm talking about all the roads, okay? Because when you talk about a dirt road, you're not talking about materials or anything like that. You're just talking about a blade man going
Correct,
down
and
there.
I have a big
cutting
plan
stuff
for
on
dirt
that
roads.
wall. That's all I'm saying, and I know. I know you said you do, but it just hasn't been done in 3 months, so you can imagine how bad it is.
Well, no, yeah, maintenance. I mean, I have a big plan for rebuilding dirt roads in the next month or two, is what I'm
Okay,
saying.
and I'm asking that, forget the rebuilding those roads, just get them to
And
where they can be drivable.
That's
all
what
I'm
we're trying to
asking
do
for.
as we speak, is trying to get them drivable right now until I get this other big plan going for the dirt roads and even the gravel roads. They need to hit all the roads in their section right now. So,
That's why I think, if there's just some public communication, whether it's out on the website, whether, written form, whatever it is, people know what the plan is going forward in the short
Did
term.
you see that letter from Minnow
Yeah.
Township?
The problem is if
That's
people
fine.
were to see the plan and then the plan's not being followed through.
Well,
That's-
then that's when we talk to Jesse.
When we met with Liberty Township, they talked about the online thing. They really like the online thing. I've got to get better at doing it. I just received a letter from Minnow Township. They want to meet with me here in the future. They put in their letter, they want to see more online stuff. So, as I told Liberty Township, I'm trying my best to remember that I've got to get upstairs and let these ladies know to get certain things, some of my plans, what we're in the middle of doing or getting ready to start. So I've got to get
Just
better at that.
updates, because
Some
I think that
updates.
when the public, if I may speak,
Go ahead.
I think that when the public does have more communication and more information, it is a lot easier because they see that this is where we are right now, this is our plan for us moving forward, then it gives them something to know that, hey, they at least know that we have an issue. And a work session, as you were talking about, if you have certain things that you want to see addressed, that's for making a plan to do that. It's not a very efficient or effective use of time just to have basically a gripe session. I mean, there are ways for people to put their concerns in by contacting the department and or the commissioners, and not necessarily just coming and having I mean, we've seen that happen before where you have, and it doesn't
And you're gonna see
help.
it again if it does, if
doesn't
it's really
help.
not addressed.
What does
And
help,
if we do need to get, more men or mowers or whatever. then
right, well, that's
what we
also a
can
budget,
do.
that's okay. It's just that when you know you have certain things you want to address, you bring that in, similar to what Kent said, and have Jesse bring that in, you look at the plan, the commission looks at it, and try to make a plan moving forward. That's what a work session should be, and that's what is going to be the most effective.
I would like to say one thing.
Go ahead.
So you commissioners, think about one thing. I've noticed a huge change in people really complaining about their roads. And Randy, you'll have to go back on this because you've been here the longest. Ever since we moved to 12 Blakeman, 12 sections, it has really seemed to progress as far as the complaining and our maintenance getting done. With these 12 blade men having the amount of miles that they have to cover, I'm seeing a lot more of these concerns. And I think when we at one time before my time, we used to be at 18 sections. When I started here, there was 16. Then we moved to 14 and then to 12. I was here shortly.
Why did we keep cutting them down?
I don't know them
Was
answers.
it
I'm
basically
just,
budget?
I think it was budget back in that.
That and people to operate, finding operators.
Right.
I mean, finding operators is another thing too.
Which one you
to
got
think about,
vacant right now? You got a vacancy still
but
north?
Still have northeast corner that's vacant. I'm thinking I might have a lead there, so.
Trying to put people in to stay in that area, it's just been a pain for all supervisors before him even. they, you know, somebody up in this northeast area up there, there's somebody up there that's, whether it's due to our wages, whether it's due to whatever the situation is, that's been part of the problem. So and the easiest problem is, okay, so if we'll say somebody's got Colfax or something, they gotta go on over to Lost Springs District or something, well, if you've got a good operator in Colfax, the operators, the supervisors that will come in, well, I'm gonna enlarge this area so that this guy, he's up there, we can't find nobody, so he'll just slip over and take it. So that's been some of the reasons why that's happened in the past.
And I brought that up from what Norm Ballard said, just what you said too. In fact, he said at one point, I think in 1975, he said there was 21 blades on the ground. And there was 52 employees. And in 2016, you have 32 employees and 12 blades.
But the biggest thing right now is look at you just said 75. Look at
Well, that's
75.
what the paper said.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying 1975. We didn't have a truck that was semi out here and farm. We didn't have any of that going on. You had a 2-ton trucks back in the 70s. I mean, the elevators, when you saw lines at the elevators, it was all 2-ton trucks or 1.5-ton trucks, whatever, even smaller than that, bringing the crop in. Today, you don't see that. Today, you see nothing but lines of semis behind there. So we've got to, what focus back then was to put a road that would hold those little smaller trucks. Today, our focus has to be something that holds our semis, the tractors that has to take both lanes to travel. And we have to upgrade our base to that. And so, and that's not only going to cost us more money, it's going to cost us maybe some different plans, like what Jesse might be shooting at, is to rebuild something and then take a look at some of the rebuilds. And even if, I don't know, if we get 3 miles rebuilt or 4 miles, I don't know what you've done this year, I don't remember total miles, 6.5. But even at that, you know, it's tough to, and what we do is do good, but it's tough to get, we need more miles in order to keep people, you know, we need more miles rebuilt each year, and what he's asking for is to either subcontract some of that out maybe, or something like that.
That's what I was saying, going forward,
Yeah.
if it's cost effective, we might be able to
Yeah.
sub some of that out. Keep his people on where they need to be.
Well, I just think, you know, like, and I agree with some of what everything was said here. If it's a matter of more men or more operators and stuff like that, we can work up. But I just like where we were at the budget time, I made no bones about it, yes. I think there's a lot of stuff we can cut out of your budget that you can live without, and I think there's stuff we need to put in your budget that you need. And that's my point right there, so.
Well, in reference to the budget, what do you have budgeted for this year in your budget, equipment budget?
Backhoe for sure, not knowing about pickups.
Mower.
Yeah, I did have mowers. Backhoe's big and mowers are the huge thing right now.
And you have a semi too?
I do need to get well, yeah, this year I was planning on getting a dump truck
With possible.
with a possibility of a pub trailer. Yes.
So, there was, what I'm hearing, people are liking to see their truck and pup on the road, because we're taking advantage of using our equipment, mileage and everything, so, I don't know if anybody else heard any yays or nays, but a lot of people haven't seen it yet, I mean, because you gotta know it, that it's out there, if you don't, it's county equipment, so. But anyway, that's one issue that, needs to be addressed, whether we're gonna go ahead and get that semi, or not semi, this truck, and put a pup behind it too. So,
Can I ask a question? Is there anything that can be done about somebody that tears up a road every time it rains because he doesn't want to go around? It's a dirt road. And he puts her in 4-wheel drive and he goes through. And he tears it up every time it rains or snows.
We've done our own surveillance, trail cams, I know other systems. We have caught people in the act. I think there's some other laws and stuff involved in there. I know law enforcement has told us that we actually have to catch them in the act if they go through one time. My understanding is if they go through one time, they catch them the second time, that's
He does
when
it
you
constantly
are
though.
fined or,
And I see him all the time do it.
yeah.
sign a complaint against them.
Sign a complaint.
That's acceptable, I mean, if you've witnessed it and stuff, I think. I think that on the, if you see them 2 or 3 times,
I've
you know,
seen
then
Is
the
that
thing-
with the sheriff's department that she would need to do?
I think so. I believe
Okay.
so. Harvey County does that anyway. They have done,
You did that with the sheriff's office?
I think so.
Okay.
That's our cases. We have
Within a
trail
certain period of
cams, but
time.
they've never amounted
Yeah, he
to
does it every time. It's
Well,
just.
what I'm saying is they go
crazy.
down one way and then come right back within 20 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just, if
That's-
anything.
and that's a
he flings
nightmare,
dirt
too.
all over Diamond, you know, there's big chunks of
Well,
dirt.
that's another thing. Then they get on a rock road and there's all that mud, yeah.
So Randy, would you be willing to go over to that county and drive down those roads? I know they had asked me if I should ask if you'd be willing to go look at them,
Yeah.
because they would like you to see them as well.
Yeah, all I need is addresses. I really, I want to support my road and bridge guys and give them a chance, and if they don't know the addresses and
They
things.
know the addresses. They know-
How do I know? I don't.
You know
you're
Louis
not
Peters?
Yeah.
Okay. Right there, all down
And
there.
that was 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'm
Yeah.
still busy doing, yeah, okay. Okay,
So I'm
so
just
she wants
saying,
it done in
she
a
will-
day or 2, okay. I'll call Linda today.
No, I'm not, see.
Well, that's ridiculous. She needs to find a little bit more patience. I'm sorry,
And-
but
and you know.
from our good discussion we had from 2 to 3 weeks ago and some of the game plan we had, she needs, yeah, I'll talk to her.
You need to what?
Nothing, I'll talk to her.
So
Well,
bottom
I
line,
hope you rethink before you go approach anybody out there that's a taxpayer, because, I don't think she's being unreasonable.
No, she's not, but she's
Okay.
not listening to me. I don't know how many discussions we gotta have, but she's not listening to me.
And this is the whole point of it, because she feels like she's not getting through to you, and she also feels like that too.
She also understands the squeaky wheel gets greased. The more she complains and she also understands that because she sees other people do this, so this is, I believe, one of her tactics as well.
After 3 months of no maintenance, you believe that's her tactic?
No, but
Okay.
what she, no, okay, we don't, we
Okay,
weren't at
so
that meeting
I
either,
was
so.
not, but I had a long, but anyway, they did bring it to my attention. I didn't call them, they brought it to my attention because it's a very bad problem.
Well, let's
And I
talk about
agree.
tactics here. Let's talk about tactics for a second here.
Okay.
Up till July, we had hard, dry weather, no rain everywhere. I personally, I'm not a grader operator, but everything that I've ever learned since I've been as a commissioner and anything, when you got the hard rock roads, there's no use of sending a grader right down. I mean, what are you doing? You're just bouncing. You're not, unless so, James, you're an operator. You've run one for years.
You don't want to grade them too much, but you do need to change the wear pattern.
Okay.
But when your guys are doing other jobs, they can't do that.
Okay,
I mean,
wear
I
pattern,
don't
yeah.
know how many times I gotta say that. The
Yeah.
guy was not in his section.
Yeah.
He's back in his section, they should be getting taken care of.
Liberty,
If they're not, we're gonna have to
down southeast, southwest corner,
do something.
And Modo's son.
southwest corner.
There's only one final point that I have here is I'm not liking what I'm hearing here, that we're on schedule now for 24 township meetings if we continue. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just what the way, that's the way things are getting done here, is we're talking about somebody throwing a township meeting together because that's my area. That's the problem that these guys here face, is because we've got 24 of them that these guys got to answer to. And so, that's my concern, is how is these guys gonna answer to 24 different townships? And if the one person in the one township wants something done, they've gotta give reasonable time, because the same problem that's happening in their township may be happening in the opposite end of the county in the township, so.
I'm sure that's the case, but I don't see a pattern starting here at all. I mean, and what do you want the public to do, Randy, when they do reach out to, or try to go through the change of command and still get nothing done? I
Well-
mean, admittedly, there was 3 months. I mean,
Perfect.
we can't just blow that off.
Can't, to your tickler system, what happened is a person on Mustang, south of 60th, called in late May. Not too long ago, within the last month, he called me and asked, he said, I haven't seen nothing done. So he give from May till clear into August. And I said, have you called? He said, yes, I did. I went down and I asked. 60 to 90 days later, I go down and ask these guys, and they find, oh, he did call in, and we haven't got there yet. What did they do? They went and took care of the problem. That's what I consider the tickler system. If what you're talking about, and I think they're happy with that they see if they're too far on behind their list, then They either bring it to us and say we're behind on our list or something to that, but they took care of the problem, even though it did take a phone call to me. I mean, to go ask them where his name was on the list and things like that. And they found it, so, I don't know, I think that works, but they've got to be notified. All I'm asking is they've got to be notified to get a chance to work on the problem, Diane, before it goes to complaints to us. I don't want these guys first. I want the public to be able to know they call the road and bridge, because some past commissioners seem to have a problem with I'll take care of you and I'll take care of this. Well, that don't work. These guys here has to get the chance. And so, that's my opinion.
And I understand that, and you're right, but then you go back to the point is, when you have the public out there to do that, and they feel like they're not getting anything done, then what is their next step?
Well, I hope they give us 60 to 90, unless it's an immediate, if they say, well, I guess the text that I sent the other day, it's almost impassable, There was a hole this deep, crossways, that was about this wide. Well, your four-wheel drive, I had four-wheel drive, and I wasn't scared to go through it, but I was talking about a police officer or another chase coming down through that area. So we're going to have a major wreck there, but either due to this first one, the person they're chasing, or the police officer is going to wreck. And so that's my concern is, if it's that bad, I will text either one of those two and tell them. But if it's not, it's just somebody needs to get it on the list so they can look at it. Give them a chance. That's all I'm asking.
Okay, so I guess what I'm hearing here then is you want the township, township and stuff, not to have a joint us in a work session or anything, or a meeting? Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what you want to not hear?
I would interest.
Middle and Liberty did have a meeting.
I would
Not here with the county commission?
No.
Yeah, I would be interested if they come in and just give us some concerns and don't get down to and we give them 3 to 5 minutes to speak. I don't have no problem with that. I mean, I don't know where you're wanting to be,
All right,
but
that's fine.
yeah.
I'd rather see some kind of an agenda to follow,
Yeah.
because I'm just afraid that
Yeah,
We could put it just on the agenda.
I don't think that's what he means.
I
Are you
mean,
talking about with specific topics?
specific topic. Otherwise, it evolves into, and then Jesse has to take the brunt of it, and I don't think that's fair.
yeah.
It'd be nice to know which roads you're wanting us to talk about, because we need to at least be able to go out and see what their for sure issue is.
Because that way he would have information to share.
Yeah. Do we need to get a rock on it? Do we?
Well, I understand you weren't there, so I understand why
Well,
you're questioning
I'm
it.
just saying for this agenda, like which road do you want on the agenda? So we can get a plan before we come in and,
Okay, that can be taken care of.
I mean, we kind of need to have, we need
That
a
can-
little
that can be
heads up
taken
or
care
else
of.
it's gonna just be,
If-
well,
Yeah, not a problem.
I don't have a problem as long as there's a specific agenda.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, so September 13th in the afternoon, is that okay? Okay, so what do you want to say, late in the afternoon, 2, 3 o'clock, what time do you think?
Yeah, 2:30.
2:30? 2:30? Okay. September 13th at 2:30. Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you,
Yep,
everyone.
have a
Thank you,
good
Jesse.
day.
James, thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay, so next on the agenda is commission discussion. Tina, I assume you put that on there?
I did.
So-
Do you want to delay that until after the MCC EDC since you're behind?
Yes, we can go ahead and jump into MCC, yes. So are they out there? I seen them. I seen some of them out there. MCC on a Friday.
that?
Yeah, but
So anyone that hasn't
How'd you
already,
get the black one?
can please.
you get the black chair. Are we up?
Yes, you're up. You're up. You may have your chair.
Thank you.
Or actually print.
Okay, Clint, what do you have?
You know, we're just, happy to be here. Somebody said, man, I'm happy to be here, and I said, at my age, I'm happy to be anywhere. Yeah. But no, thanks again for putting this on your agenda, and just want to follow up on our conversation that we had the other day, and just to keep it alive. And had a good discussion this morning with your legal counsel, Brad, and appreciate that call, Brad. And we somehow played phone tag for about a week, but this morning we did connect, and appreciate that. What I guess, and I'm going to just follow up with our conversation, and Brad is suggesting that basically this morning we find out, we kind of talk about what direction we want to go. There's probably two directions. One would be that the council, that the commissioners would be in control of this county employee, and that the MCC EDC would be basically advisors. You would have kind of total control of it. We would be advisors, and that person would be totally accountable to you. If we went that route, that would be a change, and we'd have to do quite a bit of rewriting. Correct, Brad?
That's correct, yeah.
The second tact or direction would be to stay the course. We hire this person, we take accountability for this person, and we make reports back to you. The only difference or change or thought is that you would be the paymaster, and this person would come under the county employee regs. We would use your employee handbook, so there would be some unification. And if we went that route, we would have very little to rewrite, according to Brad. And the thing that we would add in writing would be our relationships. Okay, what your commitment is and what our commitment is. That would cover two things. That would cover our relationship, one, and the second one, it would cover our requirement to capers, to keep us straight with them. According to Brad and our conversation, that could be easily done, and, by the way, is done in several other occasions, namely Hillsborough, as we talked, but also Harvey County. They use the same format. So we're not trying to do something that hasn't ever been done before. And I guess I would leave it at that if there's any questions. But so we're wanting to decide, which direction we really want to go.
Well, the way I understand it is, if the county was the second option, the county is the paymaster, and then our commitment to the system, but then the person, whoever you may hire, the board would be, if you so chose to relieve this person, you guys would do that. And the only real thing we would do is, besides answering to us and giving us updates and things like that, it would be we would take care of the paymaster and the capers and things you mentioned.
Correct.
Is that correct, Brad?
For the most part. I mean, there's several different ways that you can accomplish that second alternative. But that's the first piece of this that needs to be determined. Is it a county controlled type of a thing with an advisory board that serves as your EDC board existing currently? Or is it really no, the EDC board is basically more functionally independent to the extent that they direct and the strategic planning and everything runs there, and that employee answers primarily to them? Okay, does that make sense? Yeah. And so that crossroads is the first one, when I've been trying to catch up with Clint all week long for their board's sake, so that we have some idea if there's significant changes, and there are, if we're going to go that route with the county under complete control versus them being the one that you delegate, if you will, most of that authority to. So that's the first place. We need to make that decision. And then from there, it's a lot easier for me to determine, well, okay, then these things need to change in the bylaws particularly, and perhaps even in the organizational structure.
Okay. If that was decided that way, even at that time, even though we didn't have control over the person or whatever may be it, and things, for some reason, the commission got on the same board that we wasn't happy with what things was doing and blah, 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 we still have the bottom line to pull the funds. And so, yeah, so that's one thing that's.
And you have ultimate control.
Yeah, that way. So anyway, I thank you too for giving us an option, and I'm game for number 2.
Number 2 was specified to me again.
The way that Clint was just proposing it, if you shift where things are, the first alternative would be that the 3 of you basically are the ones in control day to day, even
That's option
operationally. I
1.
think that's, yeah. Option 2 would be leaving the board in that position as it's currently contemplated in terms of, I'm getting in the middle of this, in the middle, but as I understood the way it was done when I read through the documents, they basically controlled how the functional daily tasks of the EDC would be done. So if you want to continue in that route, then there are some things that I would need to coordinate with Tina, and we need to put together to allow us to set that up as a paymaster, as it's referred to. So that's the first thing that needs to be decided as far as I'm concerned, and there may be a number of pieces to that in terms of the discussion, and it may well be that, I guess it depends on how you view it today. If you've got a lot more questions, then it may be a work session kind of a thing that would be called for to sit down and talk your way through that.
The next thing, even if you went with what we've heard so far, is the next thing I see that this board would have to do is to figure out how we can invite anybody in our community, in our county to this. And I don't know all the rules. We got Marion here, we got Peabody here, and Hillsborough. We got 3 towns sitting here, right now. And the biggest thing is to open it up to all.
According to our bylaws, our board has that power.
Okay.
At this point. Now, we have power to elect, according to bylaws, 2 people. Okay? Well, if the other stakeholders aren't participating, then it's going to leave us short. So we would change our bylaws for us to elect up to 6. If we elected 6, the commissioners 3, then we have 9. And then we still have, when the municipalities decided, hey, this is a good thing, we're jumping in, we still have room to have them add, because we can, according to bylaws, go to 15. So all we're going to do is probably change our bylaws, and I say probably, we haven't done it yet, so that we can elect 6. That will keep our board alive, even with the members we have now, because we're slowly changing them from municipality stakeholders to elected people, but we need to have room to do that.
Good. Only thing I'd like to ask the only thing I'd like to ask the commission about is that the money situation. I've never read all. I've read it one time, I think, about how you determine the money situation. And I don't know whether the commission wants to follow a path like that anymore with money from each, whether it be Hillsborough, Marion, Peabody. If that's what they want to do, if the commission would want to follow that path, or ask them to follow that path, I mean, we wouldn't have no control over it, whether they would want to follow that path. Each town sort of, what was, Hillsborough was so much, and Marion was so much, Peabody so much.
Yeah, Hillsborough and Marion paid the same amount, and then Peabody paid approximately half, a little more than half of what, I mean.
That would be my next question, is if the board, this board, if they was on their own, would pursue that. I don't know. I'm just, that's a big one, so.
Any of you have a comment about that?
Well, as was stated in the last meeting, there's enough funds that are there for you to operate for, right now, for maybe, 2 years?
For sure.
Marion's opted out. Hillsborough is, I guess, on hold at this point.
They're not in the 2019 budget.
And in budget. I'm not exactly sure where Peabody's going to be. It doesn't sound like. So, I mean, it would be nice if there was community involvement, but, like you said, there's money to operate there. I don't know if you can hire a director under that kind of circumstance. That's a big question.
Well, just let me add one thing, that we would like to leave that option open.
Yeah, okay.
We don't want to take it away.
Okay.
Because we believe that in a period of time, that we will be able to produce enough results that maybe these other entities will say, yeah,
Cool.
it's a good investment, we're jumping in. So let's just leave that available.
Well, fine.
So
It-
I
it-
have some questions.
Well, as
Go ahead.
originally designed and set up, it's not just those three
Right.
entities.
Yeah,
It's whoever comes to the table, the first
Exactly.
three stakeholders
And
that come to the table
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
funding.
Okay.
So it might be Marion Hillsborough Peabody, it might be a private corporation,
Yeah.
because that's the way it was designed.
And some of the small towns might even. want
Exactly.
That's exactly
Exactly.
right. So we would like to leave it intact.
Okay, cool.
So, Mr. Jantz, I disagree with Randy in so much as having the county be the paymaster and then having them have all the control. I don't think that's wise. That concerns me a lot. Who in the county is held responsible, the bottom line, for all the money spent? Us three. So for us to designate money to anybody and have no control, I have a problem with. And I have not seen a decent budget or a decent expense report from this group ever. So I'm very worried about it. And I just don't think that's wise.
And that was the purpose of my comment, Clint, in terms of them coming back, for you to have the discussion about those elements of it. I mean, those are relevant points, and you have to decide what your comfort level is as a body, because the funding primarily right now, it's fair to say, is from here.
Very good.
I've been involved in 4, when they've been, from inception, the first one being years ago with Hardin County. Theirs is a completely independent board. They have all the municipalities, with the exception, I think, of Sedgwick, because we didn't have the funding last year. There was a concern about being able to fund it. In the county have consistently contributed to, on a formula basis that they've created in the last several years. And then that board is in essence independent. It would follow what we termed as kind of the second alternative. That's where you begin. If there's those concerns and that's for you to hash out, that's the process here, and make a determination about, well, can we either get comfortable with that or we look at what else we need to do. I think the point's also taken, you're right, that you have the power of the purse on this thing, and if you pull the funding, at some point it's going to go away anyway right now because there aren't other players. This one, in terms of the bylaws, is a little unique in that, as we were just mentioning, it has the ability for other entities to get involved in it and to help fund. That's not always the case with these. A lot of them are set up where we're going to do them exclusively through the governmental entities. And so it's the cities, it's the county, and that's the extent of who contributes to it. And they don't have any other players other than advisory groups. Obviously, you have large industry, or you have different other stakeholders in the community that want to be involved. They are, but they're not funding partners. So I don't have any necessarily big problem with that. It can be worked through, but that's the first crossroads, and I keep coming back to that. It's just making that decision, and if those concerns need to be addressed, then so be it. It needs to.
And then everything sounds rosy. If we hire this person and everything starts blooming beautiful, that's great. But suppose we hire this person, whoever it would be, and works for 6 months or whatever, now has a contract, I would assume, resigns, or you don't like him, you fire or whatever, him or whoever. There's liabilities and things. All that has to be handled just right. And then the county, again, is open for workman's compensation if something happens, gets injured or something. We're open for that. We're open for lawsuits. Employee hirement is very technical, I should say, today. And I don't know who your HR person is. We don't have one really in the county here, but I'm learning it's really tough. Really tough. Guidelines are out there. And I'm very concerned about that. I mean, I understand that if everything goes cookie cut and beautiful, people start jumping on board and start throwing money our way, that's wonderful. That's a little unrealistic in my book. So I have to look at both sides. And to protect the taxpayers and what we're responsible for, I mean, if we're gonna hire a director and it's gonna be under the county control, then honestly, an advisory board would be okay with me, but that would be the limit, just an advisory board. It would be all right with me. But that's my concerns.
Only one point, Diane, that you made the point of is, there's many organizations that we give lots of money to support, and we don't have even a board member on. The only one that I know of is Community Economic Development, or not Economic, the CDDO in Newton. So that's not a valid point. We have many other boards that we give money to that we have no control over, and if they spend it to go to Hawaii, they spend it to go to Hawaii. So that's not a valid point as far as I can see.
That's not what I was saying. I wasn't concerned about anybody here taking a Hawaiian trip.
Wait a minute, there could be a person who comes from that. So.
There could be, but that's not the point that I was making at all.
I guess I would just offer that, you know, whatever decision we make, there's always a risk. And employees, if an employee produces, we're good, and if they're not, we have a method to make that change. And you ultimately have the power to stop the whole thing by funding, which you do to the point, as you just mentioned. If you don't like what they're doing out there, you don't have to budget it next year. So you know, we're going to do. We've got a great board. We're going to do the best we can, and I guess I have to lean on your trust of this board to some degree. That just has to be there.
So my question is, you paid Catherine already. She receives a paycheck out of your
That's true.
Out of your fund. Am I correct?
That's true.
And I do understand your concern about the benefit packages and stuff. That's your main concern, and that's why you want the county
That's
to
right.
do this. Okay, so how deep did you look at outside packages that you could offer? Did you really check
Yes.
various
I got
companies and
quotes
so on?
for insurance, and I got quotes to do, how much it would cost to do payroll. And, by the way, I am the HR person. I do everything. I have a master's in business. I've done everything in other countries, so, I mean, companies, to answer that part of your question.
But you're not HR for the county, are you? Are you our HR person for the
No,
county?
I didn't say that.
Okay, well, then
No,
that
for
was my
MCC,
question. Okay.
She's working on all of that.
So if we already have it set up to where you do payroll for yourself and take out taxes and things, the only thing you're concerned about is insurance, right? And so just.
We're just trying to be cost effective.
And I understand that.
Because the quotes that I got for insurance are higher, significantly higher than what you get the insurance cost for. So we're just trying to save taxpayer money and asking you what we do. But we would also reimburse you for, whatever the cost would be that, we say, okay, we paid this employee this much, and then you write the check, and then we would reimburse you for that. I mean, we're not asking for more money that way.
I just think out in the public, there are some good insurances that would really be comparable to what we're paying. In fact, we just went through insurance, and I know that's the case, pretty much so. They are out there. And there are even some companies that offer group rates under certain circumstances and stuff. So I would contend that you would, I think maybe a little more research in that would be beneficial, because I know there's some out there.
Well, the more you pay, the better your insurance. The less you pay, the less your insurance.
And I believe there's another real
Don't know if you agree with
advantage
that, but-
for us to come under the county would be that we could use your employee handbook. That would be unify all employees as to time off, capers, just all of the things so that we wouldn't have this maverick, so to speak, out here. And I really believe it would stop already be a stopgap for some problems that could arise.
And we had a question on Monday. Is this just for who you're hiring, or is this for who you're hiring and Catherine?
It would be for both.
It would be for both. I think we should have a work session and really, I think I'd like to have some time also to gather some more facts and information, because I just think there's a lot of options overlooked here.
And I can understand that. I think that's, due diligence is always good. On the other hand, for us, we have people that we're talking with, and for us to push this off too long.
You sound like the wind farm now. You gotta do it right now.
Well,
That's what they do all the time. You
Well-
can't wait a week.
but I believe we've been pushed to have it done at a certain point in time, or maybe our funding would be gone. We're wanting to move.
I appreciate that. You are wanting to move.
And-
I wanna make sure it's done right.
And so do we, and part
Yes.
of, you know, when you start looking at the costs, and we've done some research, if there's always more to do. But when you look at what our bottom line is I mean, we're also feeling fiscally responsible to the citizens of the county, because we, in essence, have been bestowed by you to be the responsibility party for county taxpayer money. And so that, when we looked at some options, we just felt like we're bringing this proposal back because we felt like this is the best use of that taxpayer money at this point, based on the research we've done at this point.
I understand that.
May I speak about the interim board, which I was not part of, envisioned taxpayer money being used to kickstart this. And they were hoping that this would, that the reason this should be an independent board is so that it would function separate of taxpayer funding. So I think that's the big picture when you commissioned them to do this task. That's why they came up with these recommendations. And when we think about these relationships for the future, they worked hard at that task of putting this together in what they thought was ideal in a local form.
Was that your comment?
What's my
So I guess my big concern is, or one of my concerns is, again, when we initially started, it was a community and a county project with Marion and with Hillsborough and Peabody and others, okay? Now, we lost most of them, and yet I don't really see a big effort to go out and try to restore them. Get your foundation back, get your stakeholders back. Why is that just blown off? I mean, why aren't you out trying to reunite the community? Sweep off your own back porch first. Why can't we do that? I mean, I don't understand. What they were asking for was not a lot. And not much effort was put in to try to really organize right here in this little spot. So how are we going to take on the big picture?
Well, I think those, if you're going back to the questions, I think Dave Mueller was your appointee, and I think he answered the questions, but it wasn't good enough for them.
No, he did not answer the
Well,
question.
that's what I hear, so I'm...
Well, I did talk to
Yeah.
Dave several times and stuff, and there's more into it than that, but no, the questions were not answered satisfactorily, you know, and that's what they need to be. I mean, that's a simple task, is to answer a question thoroughly.
But it doesn't come down to just those questions. I mean, each
No,
of
it
us-
doesn't. I said there was
each-
more involved.
Each of us
I
has
said
met
there was.
with our respective communities
And
that
there
we
were
were
other
appointed
issues,
by
yes.
on multiple occasions. And it comes back to more fiscal answers from their constituents at the local level is where a lot of their drive came from.
And that's where a lot of mine comes from as well. I mean, you know, all you gotta do is read the paper. You know, people are commenting about this all the time, from all throughout the county. It's,
But in answer to your question, yes, we haven't blown it off. We have, and most of the communities are on board, and even the ones that didn't sign up for it, when we talked to some of them, with when there becomes a subsect program of the EC that will benefit that specific community or target population, they're willing to step up and assist at that time.
okay.
And I think even people that are skeptical about the taxpayer funding are very happy that their local community members are part of this board. And so I'm hearing that from the same people. And want to be locally
Well, I
represented.
hear there is a new business coming into Peabody, maybe. So I don't know. Business is coming in.
I don't think they've accepted it yet, right?
Oh, really? Well, I'm not even gonna.
There are some new businesses though.
I do wanna
Some
talk
existing
to
businesses.
some people,
Yeah.
yeah. So.
I think the one you're talking about made the news.
Yes, front page. But at any rate,
I don't want to belabor this,
Yeah.
or I mean, you have a strong agenda here yet, but I guess we would like to hear, maybe today, which direction you'd like to go of the two options. That's basically what we'd like to have here.
you're not gonna hear it from me because I need more time to study this with these two options and get more information.
I guess, Clint, and everybody that's here today, past board that give time, have all been great people in our county, citizens of our county, and they want to see something happen. That's the reason why they accepted the positions. And you know what? For me to ask volunteers to continue to be hammered on and stuff like that, I'm either with you or against you, and I'm with you. So that's the only way that we're gonna get something done, is we can't hammer on everybody and for this and that reason. We gotta move forward. You guys are wanting to hire a person, that's moving forward, and that's where I wanna be.
Put that in the motion.
I might yet.
Can we hear what Ken thinks about this?
Well, I am in favor of, at this point, of option number 2. I don't want that person to, I don't want that to us to have to be directly involved with the economic development effort. To me, that's not the county commission's assignment. There's been a lot of work been done. Yeah, it kind of seems like the wheels have been spinning and spinning. But in the end, until there's a director, you know, it's going to be that way. So we either move forward or we just say, guys, this deal's over. And so at this point, I'm in favor of option number 2.
I don't see why we can't wait a little bit and have a work session and really get more facts and information. I don't see why we have to rush into this.
If we sit around and wait and wait and wait, we got people sitting here that's wanting to do things, and they're not gonna wait on us. I don't expect them to wait on us.
Did you ever hear haste makes waste?
We've been at it for quite a while, and it's coming to the point right now where we're at, so I think we're ready to move forward and get somebody to help with save tax dollars, to save money on PayPals and things like that. It's nothing new. That's the big thing. It's nothing new. It's done everywhere. So why is it a big deal?
It is a big deal because I want it done right, and I want to know exactly what we're doing and why we're doing it, and I want to know all the details, and I want to know who's responsible for what, and I want to make sure it's legal. The bylaws need to be changed, the rules have to be changed, everything has to be looked at. I'm not happy going into anything haphazardly. I think that is irresponsible in our position.
I think Brad has told us that it all can be legal, and that's why I'm ready to move forward.
And I don't think the bylaw, option 2, the bylaws don't have to really be changed. I think we just have to have an agreement. That has to be written in. And Brad and I gave him some bullet points as to what we would be willing to do. He has our information. If he can come back with what the council is willing to do.
Especially what legally we can and can't do. For
Yeah,
instance,
we're willing to
county
abide by that.
employer, there are gonna be those delineations that you as a board have to do versus us as a board. I mean, there's no doubt about that. That agreement.
Wasn't there one change that would have to be made to the bylaws stuff still as far as the members at large?
Yes.
Well, yeah,
that
but
is-
that's kind of a separate issue from this employment.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
tweaking.
gonna have to be
So
tweaked.
there is a small change.
We will do that, yes, thank you.
Or we will lose members of our board.
Yeah, we will.
That is,
So then, you're still gonna have the commissioners each point have an appointment,
Yes.
and then you're gonna have the rest of them at large.
We'll have 6, we would have 6 possible at large.
And you have now an assistant director, no director, And you have a treasurer?
We do. We have Mr. Jost. Jared Jost is our treasurer.
And is it correct that Mike Beneke has resigned as of
He
last
has
week?
resigned, along with Dave Mueller.
Okay.
We acted on both of those resignations formally.
Cool. And Brad, one question to you then is if vote number 2 was taken and accepted, you would be ready to move ahead and get this accomplished to the next step? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, I think the answer is yes on that. In terms of it, proceeding to assist, and we've reviewed it, or I've reviewed it at your direction, and then, like I said, where we're at this point is the discussion you're having right now as to what T's you want to cross regarding that supervision, and kind of I don't know how to say it any simpler than, do you want to take control of it, or do you want to leave that board in place?
Is that a quasi-public organization?
Oh, yeah.
We're creating something like that, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There's public funds being used, and at least that's my opinion.
That's my
It's not a
thought, but-
private entity per se.
Mhm.
You're going ahead and have representatives from different entities, so yeah, I think they observe those.
And they will still have to follow COMA rules and everything
Oh,
else.
yes.
That's-
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And I was hoping that you would have had representation at the meetings. I mean, I thought you had told me that she was going to attend, but I didn't see that she was there, unless you went to Wichita maybe.
I went to Concordia. Were you in Concordia?
No, I said unless you went to Wichita.
No, I was in Concordia.
So you went to.
She has a certificate
Yeah, I
she
have-
gave
I
us
have
the other day at the board, so,
I have proof.
Okay.
yes, she
Okay,
did.
because when I talked to you the other day, you said you didn't know.
No, I said she went, but you had said she didn't go, so I said, well, I don't know, maybe she didn't make it, but.
Oh, well, because when I first talked to you, I thought she was gonna go to the Manhattan one with me, and then I was there and she wasn't there, so I said, well, she
went to the
didn't go.
Concordia one, so
And you said,
I'm
didn't
sorry.
know.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you can call the League of Kansas Municipalities and ask them if I was there.
No, she did go, she showed us her certificate anyway.
well,
so,
with,
okay.
I'm in motion to make a motion here for, and Diane, I understand the way you do things. You like to, I'm not denying that you like to go through things to dot the i's, cross the t's. I'm hoping that this man, without any favoritism to anybody, can do it fair enough to everybody so we don't get sued and all of that, and all some of your concerns that you had. But I'd like to make a motion to accept number 2 option, to us, the county, pay the PayPal, and providing everything, our insurance will work, and with this situation, I think, do we have to clear that with the insurance company too, Tina?
I believe that whatever agreement that is entered into,
Would be acceptable for that insurance, okay. So I would still like to go with number 2, for us to be the PayPal, and for it to be an independent board with the Economic Development Committee, where they take care of if they have to fire somebody, they can come and make a
Is
resignation.
that all the motion, or you
Yep.
continue?
Yep, yeah.
You got that motion has to be put down verbatim, you know that, don't you?
I have it recorded, but would you want to clarify your motion, Randy?
Just if the independent board over there is in charge of the director, if they hire that person.
Can you restate your entire motion, please?
Oh, that's way too much. Just to go with number 2, be the PayPal, insurance, and all provided, just like the county handbook and things like that, be done through our rules, but the independent board of the MCC EDC have control of their board. And the person they hire.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I have a question.
I was gonna ask for questions in a few
And
minutes.
as part of
Do
that,
what you wanna do.
as part of that, that also means that for whatever we, that those contributions will be reimbursed from MCCED to the county. Is that
Yes.
part?
Yes, correct, yeah. No more money, we've set our limit.
Right.
Yes, they are in control. Reimbursement, as they stated here, would have to be, yes.
I'll second.
So a motion and a second by Randy and Kent. Discussion. I do want to say, I really have a lot more questions, and I really need to know more information. I'm not going to vote blindly. I did clarify that with Kansas Association of Counties. I've seen that you had some information on a packet about their handbook. The desk
Mhm.
copy?
Yep.
And I did speak to Mike Paycoon this morning, and he said the desk copy is simply a guide. And he said that common sense tells you that you never cast a vote when you don't have proper information. So therefore, that's just for the sustainment part of it. But I can't go along with this without information, so I'm gonna vote no. I need more information. I still say there's a lot of information out there.
So are you ready to vote?
I vote yes. So, you made the motion, I have the second. Okay? So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same side. Aye. Okay.
Bob, thank you. I think that helps us, and I think at this point in time, you know, hopefully Brad and I can play less phone tag, and we'll get a document that we can both agree on, and we'll go from there.
And I just heard something you guys say that I didn't know. You got it on the table that if Marion still has some questions, I guess, is that still on the table? Is that what you said it, Clint?
They had some questions, and we're in continual talks with them.
Okay, good.
And we are, you know, we have good reason to believe that they could come back on this.
Transparency is always everybody's looking for.
I do have a person who is willing to work on the board of that economic development group. I could nominate. Can we go ahead with that?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and nominate Lloyd Myers. Wants to participate in your group.
He was present at our last meeting, and we were glad to have him there. And so yes, we did visit with him. And that is a solid, you know, appointment. We'll honor that.
I'll appoint him because he does want to participate in your board. So, like I said, always before, there's people who want to participate, and so
Good.
I will go
Thank
ahead
you.
and nominate him. Does the board need to vote on that? I think so.
I think you did on all the others, so
Yeah.
is that your motion then
That's
to
my
appoint
motion.
him?
I'll appoint Lloyd Myers on the Economic Development Board for my appointment.
Do you have his contact information?
I've got it right here.
I made a motion. Do I have a second?
Oh, yeah.
I'll
Okay, I'll
send
second.
it to you.
Okay.
I have a second by Kent. All in favor say
I would like to
aye.
have a little discussion.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to vote, but if something happens that somebody is not under their full level abilities and shows up at a meeting, I've got a problem.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I do, I know what I'm talking about.
Well, good.
And so, I would like to vote yes for this person.
Okay.
But at the same time, if this person shows up at a board meeting and does not function well.
Okay, I'll tell you what, I'm just gonna withdraw my motion, because if you feel that way about it.
I want the person to be there, but I also want them to know to come to work
If you're thinking
level.
he's mentally incapable,
No,
then forget
no,
it.
I didn't
I'm
say
not
that.
gonna do that
I
to
didn't
him.
say that.
I didn't say that about your appointment of Mike Benege, I just voted no. I didn't say anything about his mental.
That's right, that's why I say I want to vote yes, because if the person he shows up, he wants to be there. Yeah.
I'm gonna withdraw my motion at this time, I will discuss that with him first, so I'll
Okay.
withdraw it this time.
If he wants to show up and be fully, I'm fine with that.
Can you believe that?
If you-
I mean, can you believe
Pretty
that?
hard on my neighbor, isn't it?
It's just outrageous, but anyway, next, I'm sorry, did you have anything else?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
See you guys.
Excellent.
All right, thank you.
See you guys.
Okay, I'm sorry. Ed, do you want to go ahead and come on up? We're running a little late. You can be
Sure.
next.
We had ambulance inspection this week, went well. We had a few minor things, but we took care of that right away. One of the things was suction canisters were expired. And in the 25 years I've been doing this, I didn't realize they had a date. So, but we fixed it right away, so that took care of that. And then we have a tag light out on the old A5, which it goes in the shop on the 4th, so they were okay with that too. So, other than that, there was one tube that was found expired, and that was on Florence's truck, but we fixed it right away, so it was not a big deal. A5 came back from the shop. The old A5 came back from the shop after all them repairs. It had turbo and a catalytic converter had to be repaired. And then, like I said, on the 4th, it goes back and it goes to the body shop to get all the repairs. All the parts finally came in for it, and it'll get the repairs from the accidents we've had. The rear end, and, we rear-ended that car, and then the back end of the building. So,
I think that you guys had a question on which unit that was. Did you?
it's the old A5.
I know, what does that mean? Is that in Hillsborough?
That's the
or-
oldest
old
one we've
one
got.
in Hillsborough.
Thank you, that's what they were
Yeah,
curious about.
yeah. It's actually gonna be the new backup for the county. So, as soon as it gets all its repairs.
The new old backup?
Huh?
The new old backup?
The new old backup, yeah. It's gonna be transferred to the backup. Got the new ambulance in. It had an issue 2 days ago with water and fuel, so it went to the shop and got all the fuel taken out of it, and they said it was milky. Osage is gonna take care of all that cost. I also talked to them about the first ambulance, because we had to do the same thing with that, and so they're looking at reimbursing us for that bill too. So, but it's fixed, it's up and going again, so. The only other thing I have is I am resigning my position as EMS director effective September 20th. I've accepted a position elsewhere. So that gives you guys 20 days, hopefully, to find somebody or get somebody in place.
Well, Ed, I won't do what I did last time, because I thought it was a spur of the moment situation, what you had last time. And I think this has probably been more thought out than what you did before. I will want to say thank you. You've taken Marion County from disarray and put them in order and put them where they need to be, where we have an upstanding out reports and things like that. We have good people. We've had the public tell us, thank you. We've had the public say, wow, what a service. And that's what you've done for Marion County. Personally, I'd like to say thank you. Nobody else sits in here and never had the letters come from the state and tell us, we're going to shut you down. And when you get that letter and you're sitting in this position back here, it's a big responsibility whether 12,000 other people know it or not. It goes to bed with you every night. We've luckily found some people that was able to help us. The state gave us some people that was able to help us. And somehow, you had to come try us twice. First time we didn't We didn't hire you the second time we did. So, all I can say is, thank you. Thank you very much for the service you give to Marion County as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you.
That's all I got to say.
I'd also like to personally thank Ed for all he's done. Like, when I first started on this commission, I realized what a problem we were in, and you addressed it. You walked us through it, and I believe we have a really good service now. You leave behind a good service, so that's a pat on your back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then I'll just say, I wish you and your family all the best. So I hope you have the best, we do, for you and your family. Thank you. So, we'll go ahead and I'll accept the resignation. Do I have, I'll make a motion to accept it, I'm sorry. I will make a motion to accept the resignation of Ed DeBeese as the Marion County EMS Director, effective September the 20th, 2018. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Randy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck, bud.
Good luck. If there's anything I can do to help, just let me know. You know, I'm a phone call away. You know, so. But thank you.
Okay, so next on the agenda, I think we have finally come down to where we're going to back up and go to the commission discussion that Tina had some questions on, or?
Well, I
go
didn't
on
have
to
questions,
the
I just
board?
wanted to provide you some information, because
Okay.
at the end of the last meeting, of course, you mentioned that you were gonna be pursuing a petition, so I just had some information to share with everyone.
Okay.
And it's basically, the statutes and the other information are in your were in your packet.
I'm gonna have to ask for written copies, because as you know, this thing's still not working.
Oh,
So
it's
that's-
not?
That's
Okay.
fine.
I can give you all of
Okay.
that.
Fine, that's fine, we'll do it later.
Are you sure?
Yeah, later.
Okay, I can just give you let me at least give you a copy of this. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, do you at least have that, so you can kind of follow along a little bit. So basically, just ended up researching the process of this, and wanted to share with all of you what that process is. So the way that this could be done, if it's something, it can either be done by petition, or it can be done by the board if the board wants to place it on the ballot without a petition. And so just the information is, I do believe that there is a petition being circulated right now.
Yes, there is.
Okay. And so the latest that the petition can be submitted will be the close of business on Friday, September 7th. The petition language has to be approved by the county attorney, Courtney.
Or the counselor. The counselor could also approve it.
Okay.
That's according to state, and that's also in some of your statutes.
Right.
Yes.
On this particular one, yes, and I believe that the two of them discussed it, and
Okay.
Courtney is the one that will approve it. And then it also must contain the signatures of at least 5% of the registered voters, and then those would be verified. So that is the petition requirement. If the petition is submitted and is found to be sufficient and legal by the attorney, then the Board of Commissioners would be required to pass a resolution to place the question on the ballot. And in your packet, you did have a draft of that resolution. And so then the question does go on the ballot, and the election is held and canvassed, just like it would be on the regular ballot this November. If the question passes, then on or before January 1st of next year, you would be required to pass another resolution which would outline the district boundaries. And the statute does say that the representation needs to be approximately equal between all 5 districts if you end up going that way. And then basically this part is kind of new that hasn't been done yet because the law was changed, but basically the governor will determine, the law says he will visit with the county commissioners or consult and collaborate, and they will determine then and whether or not the election for those positions would be done through a special election or the next general election in which everyone in the county is entitled to vote. So if the question passes, basically they would determine when the election would be. If it would be a special election just to elect those 2 people, or if it would be the next general election. The precinct committees would then hold a convention. Each of them would hold a convention to nominate their candidates. If there's someone who's unaffiliated that would wish to file for that position, one of those 2 vacancies that would be created by the change, they can do that by petition. And there are set timeframes that are set out in the law for that. And then the election would be held, and then the new commissioners would take office on the 2nd Monday in January following whenever that election of those people is. So that is the process. You can, and again, there is petition being circulated. The board could also do that without a petition, and I wanted to put it on the agenda just so you would have the information, and I don't know that you guys have ever even discussed whether you would want to put that on the ballot, so you could do that if you wanted to without a petition. I also had a draft resolution for that in your packet, so if you decided that you would like to put it on the ballot and ask the public if they are in favor of that, without a petition, the resolution to do that would need to be either passed today or at a special meeting sometime next week, because the deadline is the same, and it's September 7th, and you do not have another meeting until September 10th. So I just wanted to bring that forward, give you all a chance to discuss it, and just let you know what to expect next if we do receive the petition. So.
I thought the petition had to be inspected by somebody before it could be legal to be passed, or.
In this instance, the law doesn't say that it has to be before.
Okay.
It is common sense that it would be, because then if it's not sufficient, then whoever is doing this petition has kind of wasted a lot of time in getting the signatures. When it's a recall petition, the language is much more specific,
Okay.
and I believe it says that it
Okay,
has to
that's
be done before.
Okay, that's the reason why.
But this is a similar type. It's the same type of a petition. It's called a statutory initiative petition. And so it falls under the same requirements as a recall petition, but the law is not as specific as far as the order.
Okay.
So it can be verified. It just has to be verified before it comes to me.
And I will also put your mind at ease, I have had 2 attorneys, as a matter of fact, look at the wordage, and in fact make up some of the wordage on it, so, and I can get that in writing. I don't have it in writing, but I can just ask for it.
I think that's kind of,
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
Because I wouldn't know how to write that up, so I had an attorney do that, yes.
And that is one thing that I mentioned to you when you asked me to provide the petition. I said, well, I don't have that normally. This is how it's done, and
And that's
usually
why-
with an attorney.
And that's why I
assisting.
went right away then and called
Yeah.
an attorney, and, yeah.
But we all know
Okay.
that attorneys don't agree with one another, so that
That's
they
true.
may come back and say, we don't like the way this.
Well,
attorney
and
did
it does come down to the determination of Courtney then, if it's,
Yep, it does, yeah.
if it's acceptable or not. So,
And it's a pretty broad petition. It's not near as binding like when I was talking to the Secretary of State. They basically handle candidate-type petitions, which are very more stringent. And like she had said, the laws and the guidelines are not near as stringent on this. And some of the questions that I've asked, they even said there were no laws
Right.
on them.
Legislatively, we don't get the guidance on this one that I'd like to see them have, just because it takes the heat off of someone having to make a unilateral determination in a given setting on an ad hoc basis. But that's just what we've got right now, is what little is in the statute. And it mirrors that, obviously, so. that's it.
And there are still, requirements as far as when I review the signatures and how,
Right.
what I can accept.
General
That's
electors,
not,
right.
that's no different than.
Right, right.
But the timing, as far as being able to have it reviewed while you're circulating it, you can do that on this petition.
And I would tell you, the response is just overwhelming. I mean, the people are just really, really interested in it. Yes. So, yes.
How did you say anybody that wanted to get on the ballot, like, for those two positions, how did you say that had to be done?
The precinct party, the precinct committees meet and they hold a convention, just like they do in a vacancy for county commissioners. So it would
just
be,
like
well, because this creates a vacancy.
Okay, so it's not the same as they're gonna be elected that way.
They are elected, well, yes.
Ultimately.
Basically, rather than just doing it for the governor to appoint, the precincts meet and they hold a convention and they nominate their candidate to be placed on the general ballot. So instead of having a primary election that people file for and the parties vote and say this is our candidate for the general, the party committees meet and nominate their candidates.
Okay.
So that's in place of the primary, and then they go on the ballot. And so you could potentially have, for each position, you could have a Democratic and a Republican candidate, or should. And then you may have other people that are not affiliated with the party that could file by petition. So you could have multiple
As an
names
independent,
on
right.
the ballot for that position.
So they can, on their own, they just have to get signatures?
If they're
If
unaffiliated.
they're unaffiliated.
Mhm. That's
Oh,
the
I
only
gotcha.
way.
Okay.
If
Think
they
of it
are
like
of
a
a
caucus
party,
system.
if they are of a party, the party actually has to nominate them.
So
They-
it's just the same way, basically, they can't got in. It'll be like,
It'd be similar. It
Similar.
won't be exactly the same because he was appointed by
I was
the governor
appointed.
based on the election of the precinct committee.
okay.
So where he was appointed by the governor, instead of that step, it would be the people would vote based on all those candidates that are on the ballot, and the winner is the winner.
So would we have to redistrict then, or are we gonna have to then?
Yeah.
Mhm.
fine.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you got to redistrict. I mean, it still has to be the same amount, close to the same amount of support votes in each district,
Population-wise, yes.
voter-wise. I don't
So-
know, population-wise or voter-wise?
I believe it's population.
Population?
Population.
So Kent, do you have any objections to putting it on the ballot, or?
No, I believe if the voters of this county want to decide that, I'm all for it.
You want to go ahead and make a motion to do that?
To,
Put that question on the ballot?
There's a resolution
I was
that.
gonna say, I think there's.
You would have to adopt a
Legally-
resolution
Oh, I'm
if
sorry.
you
Yeah,
wanted
this
to.
is kind of all set up for you if you chose to want to go that way
Okay,
today.
okay. Did you want to, okay, which one is it here?
Well,
Oh, this one right here.
It doesn't mention the petition, it's just a.
But she has two, she
action.
has one.
Right. There
Well,
are
maybe
two.
I just have two.
I would like to just hand you the one that it is, if the board
Why
decides to
don't you-
pass
Is
that
it the right
resolution
one?
today, because,
Me too. So we passed the right one.
that's right, I'm just, the one, it only has two whereases.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's got
instead
one
of
less
three,
paragraph.
because the third one talks about, the third whereas, it says the Board of Commissioners has been presented with a petition.
Okay.
So if you decide that you want to just go ahead and take action and adopt a resolution to place that on the ballot, you would use the two whereas
Yes.
resolution without the petition.
And then that will obviate the need for the petition, circulation, and review. You can still do it, but it's not, it doesn't have, it's not what's going to compel an initiative referendum setting.
Right.
This will be
It
you
can be
as
the
the
board
existing sitting body saying, we'd like to submit this question to the public and let the electors determine if they want to go to 5 or not.
And since it's just a question, and that's what the people really like, you know, having an option to vote, just like we did with the administrator, of being a part of it, and, you know.
I'm all for letting the voters decide.
I like that too. I mean, they decided on us, so. So,
Let me, I have the resolution number on a sticky note, but I think it got stuck to something.
no, you may chime in here. You usually chime in whenever you like. So be my guest.
I'm
Gonna
just
go
gonna go
find
find that,
something,
just
so.
in case you
Well, I'll
decided
wait
you
till
wanted.
we get back, since you have some other.
Of that meeting I went to over there in Manhattan, and they were sharing some experiences from other counties, and that were 3 board members, and went to 5. And their testimonials were just awesome as to the changes that came about, not only within the board, but throughout the county. And it was just very impressive. And so I thought, well, see if the people here would like it. And when I first thought it out, I mean, I have people calling me, wanting me to go, and I'm running all over the place. That's why I'm so told I'm tired. But anyway, I'll just add that. So go ahead there, Mr.
Okay.
Stalky.
I find it quite amazing that this wasn't never discussed before the primary election and stuff like that. We should have put it on that vote. I feel I've seen a lot of spite in the last couple of years, and if Commissioner Becker wouldn't have won his primary, I don't know that we'd be sitting here addressing this issue today. But we are sitting here addressing it. And so if 5 district members, we know that 2 controls the vote in 3 controls the vote in 5. It don't change too much. But there's been a lot of people in a lot of different areas, and as I've said, in our north area, clear up north and clear down south, it seems the farther away you get from the city of Marion, the area around here, that they have discussed the 5-member board for representation. If the 5-member board gets good people on there, it is a good thing. But it seems to be just brought up since this election, and I don't like spite. So that is my consideration, is why I would vote yea or nay, even though I have discussed this with a lot of people in both ends of the county. And I understand that there is some people out there, but it's still going to fall back to 3 controls the vote of 5. Nothing new.
Well, the new thing also, Randy, I might add, is you have got more knowledge coming to the board because you have more people. I'm sorry, let me back up a little bit. Your point of, I can't remember what you said about having the controllers. It's up to the people who they vote to represent them. Whoever they vote to represent, the 5 will be all voted by the people. And we just have to deal with it. That's right. But you'll be bringing more knowledge into the board because you'll have 2 more people who have had life's experiences, life's careers and things like that, who get out there and take on challenges and study and research. It just brings by far more conversation.
I've worked with many 5-member boards, been commissioner and council member, mayor, so I have no problems working with 5-member boards. I know how they work.
Okay. And I will say, and my thing too is I'm on a lot of boards for the county, and they're all, well, they're 5 and 7 or even more. And it's amazing. You can go in there and talk about a subject going in there almost know nothing. But through the conversation and all the sharing of the experiences, you get education right there on the spot almost. And it does bring a lot of good to the discussion. Plus, it also changes the more members you have. It also helps in calming and add to the atmosphere and the attitude change sometimes of everybody. You go in ready to just all come together. I just think it's really good. And like I said, my response from the people that I have out there, and at this point in time, it's just a question on the ballot. It's not a big deal. Let the people decide.
It's a matter of about 2 years before if it passes, about 2 years before it gets brought up.
It's a
I understand.
process, but you gotta start somewhere.
Yep.
So did you have anything else to add? Okay.
No, I'm okay with the process. You know, to me, it's all about the voters.
Yeah.
If the voters want something, we need to do it, you know, and let them decide.
So I will go ahead, I'm prepared then to make a motion if I have a number. Okay, so I will go ahead and make a motion to adopt resolution number 2018-27, a resolution authorizing a vote to change the number of commission districts from 3 to 5. Do I have a second?
Now, is that the one with the two whereas?
That's the one.
Yes.
But I mean, since we already have a petition being circulated.
This would do away with that then.
That's correct. It would just go directly onto the ballot, and then we don't have all the other steps of the petition.
Yeah, this, just to be clear, this would be this body placing it on the ballot at your initiative in terms of you passing the resolutions as we're going to put it on. It would
Right.
obviate the need, eliminate the need for the petition to finish being circulated. The sufficiency of the petition would no longer be something we would be reviewing or going over. The electors that signed it wouldn't be qualified through Tina anymore because you put it on, as opposed to the requisite number of signatures being required before the deadline approved, and then it would go on in that fashion. Does that make sense? So what you're voting on right here, that resolution, I suppose, do we have extra copies that they could, you guys got them in your packet,
Yeah, we
right?
got it.
Basically, it's just, so we're real clear on what you're voting on.
We can even read it out if you want to.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if Randy got to look
No,
at it.
I didn't get to.
That'd probably be better if
Okay.
you did that.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
you're
how
talking about this
Got it
page
read
right
to
here?
you?
Yeah, I have it here,
Okay,
so.
I can do.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you
Yeah,
want me to
okay.
read it out, or do you want, what do you want me to do?
I think we should probably read it out, just to
Okay.
make sure.
Okay. Do you have a copy of it, Randy?
No, that's fine, I can listen, I can listen.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. A resolution authorizing a vote to change the number of commission districts from 3 to 5. Whereas KSA 19-204 et sequitur authorizes the county commissioners of Marion County, Kansas to divide the county into 3, 5, or 7 commissioners' districts as compact and equal in population as possible. And whereas no such resolution which would affect a change in the number of commissioner districts shall take effect until it has been approved by a majority of the qualified electors of the county voting thereon at the next general election following not less than 60 days the adoption of such resolution in which all the qualified electors of the county are entitled to vote. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Marion County, Kansas shall cause such proposition to be submitted to the voters of the county at the next general election following not less than 60 days the petition thing is still in here.
You can strike that.
Yeah, we need to fix that.
I'm sorry.
Following not less than 60 days the adoption of the resolution. In which all of the qualified electors of the county are entitled to vote. And further, that the Board of County Commissioners of Marion County, Kansas shall submit the following question on the ballot at the general election to be held November 6, 2018. Shall the following be adopted? Shall the Board of Marion County Commissioners change the number of county commission districts from 3 county commission districts to 5 county commission districts? Yes or no? Further, if a majority of the electors voting at such election shall be in favor of increasing the number of commissioner districts, the Board of County Commissioners on or before January 1, immediately following such election, shall adopt a resolution dividing the county into the number of districts approved by the voters as provided in KSA 19-204A and amendments thereto. And further, with a majority vote to increase the number of commissioner districts in Marion County, that no other change in the number of commission districts shall become effective in Marion County within 4 years of the effective date of this increase in the number of commissioner districts. Further, that this resolution shall be published once each week for 3 consecutive weeks in the official county newspaper, adopted by the Board of County Commissioners, Marion County, Kansas, and then the date. And so basically it's just saying that you're putting it on the ballot for a vote. It outlines your next step that if it passes, that basically you cannot change the number of commission districts without a vote. That's what it says in the second paragraph. It's required by law that it would be a vote. And then if it passes, that you would take action on or before January 1st to establish a resolution and establish those districts.
And then 2 other operative elements to this resolution. 1, the exact question, the way it will appear on the ballot is on here. You've just approved it with the yes or no response that would be offered to each voter. And it's a 4-year You,
Yes.
you can't change it again if you go, well, that was a mistake. Or we should have gone 7
Right.
or whatever. It's 4 years before you can do it again.
Even if we say it was a mistake, then that means the people made a mistake, huh?
That's right.
So-
You would say it that way.
Yeah, the people
Yeah,
made a
if
mistake.
if they come back and go, well, we regret that, and there's
Mhm.
nothing you
Okay.
can
I'm
do
gonna
for
go
4 year
and
period.
change this.
Yeah, let's make sure.
May I ask on that question right there where it says to change the number, should that word be expand? I'm just asking.
Semantics, I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to say expand, but, because change gets you to the same place.
Okay,
I
that's
mean, it's
fine.
just a matter of what you like.
Okay.
Okay,
Go
now the
ahead.
60-day deal was to get it,
We have to have, we have to have a minimum of 60 days before the election to be able to put it on the election. That's what the 60 days is.
right.
And so,
But after it's passed, you said 60 days. No? No.
Prior.
Prior, okay. Okay, after it's passed, let's go through those steps. What's the next step?
okay. So after, if this question is placed on the ballot, it goes
And it
to,
passes.
and it passes, then before January 1st, on or before January 1st of 2019, you would have another resolution that you would pass that outlines what those districts are.
You would have to know where they're at.
You would have, so between your November canvass of your
Within
election
30 to 60 days.
and then your January 1 date,
Yeah.
this commission would have to figure out and pass a resolution defining what the new districts are.
Is that doable?
I don't know why it wouldn't be. It
Well,
should
I don't know,
be.
I just.
We would be able to, I mean, I think that
Yeah.
we would be able to definitely assist you with that as far as.
You're going to look at primarily equitable population division.
Right.
Typically, the other things, very few times have been involved in anything close to it. You look at population centers, I mean, and you could get some assistance from the state as well.
And I would think that your existing sitting commissioners
Yeah.
would have to be, it would have to, their,
Yeah.
they would have to stay, they would each have to have their own, you know,
Yeah.
where it would
Yeah.
go around them.
That division, so in answer,
So we
if
have a
you're
few
thinking, wow, that could
limitations.
be something to get our way through, yes.
Yeah.
But can it be done? Yes. I mean, it's just a matter of how many days we devote to it and how quickly we reach an agreement
Right.
on the equity of it. It's challengeable. I mean, there's a number of pieces to it. But, you know, it does fall to you to make those divisions, and then we avoid gerrymandering and the whole process that goes into that. Been involved in that once. And so it has some challenges too. But the goal and the rules that are utilized in terms of how it's done are fairly clear cut. And then they're fairly straightforward. And it's just, we're going to try to do it by population, as I recall. Yeah, it's by population, primarily. And then obviously some logic to how they sit, you know, in terms of putting 5 together versus 3. So it's
And
it would be
actually,
a new experience for us all in that regard in this county.
and that's after it's approved
Yes.
by the people.
Yeah, that's
We may never
pre-supposed
even get to
approval.
this point if they vote no. I doubt that, but, you know, you may never.
And then once that's passed, also the next step as far as electing, your people to fill those new positions is kind of that process that I outlined earlier.
And the best way I can describe that, it's a form of caucus in terms of how that's
Right,
done
right.
initially. And then after that, once it's in place, which you're right, in a couple of years, by the time you get everything done for it to be placed on a regular ballot and go forward from that point on, because we only have those elections on a periodic basis. And then it's in place. But, you know, you go through some steps to get there.
But a lot of the counties are doing that. I mean, it seems.
I can't comment on that because I haven't been involved in it, but I know
I haven't been
the dynamic
involved.
changes from 3 to 5, just like anything else. When you add people to it, your quorum changes, there's no better way for me to say it than the dynamic changes, because you have the extra people sitting at the table, and so instead of 3 discussing it, you have 5.
And 2 commissioners can talk
Yes.
off the side or
That's-
privately.
that's
They-
wonderful.
Yeah, you know, so, I mean, it has some very good.
That piece of it is
Yeah.
Tina and I were talking, and she pointed out that that's absolutely true. Since they changed the law to where we didn't have the majority of the quorum, which if you had 5 or less, that had no value, Now that it's just, if you have a quorum, you've got an issue. But two in a 5-member setting would have the ability to speak.
Now, there would be a cost to it because you would have to more
That was my
commissioners to
next
pay
question, you know,
for.
people are
You
gonna
would
say,
have some administrative
Yeah.
expenses on getting
what
it
is,
all
what is the
done.
cost to do this? Well, we all know it's 2 more salaries, but we don't know the rest of it.
Yeah, there's definitely, I think I can probably confidently say, unless you guys all want to say, we'll just cut our salary down to nothing. You're going to pay an equal sum for each of the 5 versus the 3. So there's going to inherently be that just obvious expense and then the other tangential costs, whatever those may be.
Okay, I'll go revise this. I was handed a letter from the Expedition Wind Group. Basically just a summary of their landowner meeting that they had that they wanted me to share with each of you. So.
Did you make that one, Diane?
I'm sorry,
Did you make
I went
that?
to the one Monday, yes, I did. Right after the commission meeting on,
Probably not within 60
Yeah.
days,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
adoption of
August 20th? Yeah.
Mhm.
yep, I made that.
Approval?
that wasn't in the packet.
Adoption.
No,
I
she
just
just,
was
she
handed
just
it.
handed us
Oh.
that. Yeah.
There's always not less than 6 working days. It was the presentation of the petition.
Yeah, so in our case, we would say 60 days, less than 60 days from adoption. Of this resolution.
That's what I was going to say. I didn't know if that was.
And if we want to get really redundant,
Uh-huh.
by the board, county commissioners of Marion
Okay. There's the word.
County.
Have you heard any more on this?
No, I have,
thing?
Sorry, I missed that.
No,
I was
no, I
having
haven't.
it for the other stuff earlier.
Okay. That's until we read it. then.
Yeah,
There was a lot of people at the meeting. I have to say that the room was filled with property owners and things like that. But I was a little surprised. It was exceedingly short. It was, did you go to the one that Diamond Vista gave up at,
City Go?
yes.
Yes.
You went to that. And they had this screen show and all that type of stuff and told us all the things they're going to provide and the benefits. And they didn't go into any of that. Like that. They simply had a screen show, but it was basically their company and how they work and what their plan is and what their goal is. Other than that, there wasn't any real details letting people know that they're going to come around.
But I would think at the
That's good, you know.
CPU hearing,
because they're going to have.
that would get more large
Absolutely.
participation.
Better.
Yeah, they'll probably so. Yeah, it was just basically I want to say a meet and greet, and that's probably minimizing it.
And they have pie.
And they had lots of fun. They sure did. So,
Well, I had some questions about transferring the conditional use permit from Sun Wind and I've got some documentation here about the ownership and transferring all the commissioning agreements and the conditional use permits, and they act like they can just switch it all over.
Did they
I think
file-
we need to start all over again because all these leases are like 8-10 years ago.
did they file?
Yeah, I was going to say, did they transfer publicly of record all
Yes.
those leases? They do have that in place.
Supposedly do.
Okay.
They got a letter, I think I've got a lot of this in here.
That was my question. I haven't seen, or nobody's asked. But I haven't seen.
Well, I know, and I had heard this a little while back, and Pat's working on some of that,
Yeah,
transferring some of that, but I don't know. It was just a little snippet that I
Oh, okay.
heard
Well, I did that.
alone. But, so,
I figured I'd be the one to check to make sure that's
Here's
all.
what the
Thank you.
county got from it that I've got.
and I was gonna ask you, I know we're off on a different subject, and I don't want to do that, but I was gonna ask you, well, how about if I asked you that question after we finish?
Sure.
Okay, then I'll ask my question, because that's a deep question.
Okay,
So-
I did revise this.
Okay.
It now says, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Marion County, Kansas shall cause such proposition to be submitted to the voters of the county at the next general election following not less than 60 days the adoption of this resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Marion County, Kansas. in which all of the qualified electors of the county are entitled to vote. So that, and then if you guys, I will give you all a copy of this object.
Okay, so I'll start all over.
So
Even though I have one on the, motion on the table, should I start over just?
Probably so, since we had the clarification, or we can vote it down and do it again.
Well, no, just one last little clarification. Does it cost just to add that question on the ballot, other than a little bit more printing or whatever?
It does cost more every time you add something to the ballot. I don't know the amount, because each time you have a new question or something, it costs for coding and so
Well,
forth.
I'm just wondering, since you already got a petition circulating, I mean, if it's confident that that petition is going to cover the 5%.
You would still have the cost to put it on the ballot. You're not gonna
Yeah.
save any money.
Right. But, I mean, what if you wouldn't get 5%?
Yeah, either way.
That's not
It doesn't matter to
likely,
me
but,
one way or the other.
that's
I
up
just
to you.
put the information
I mean,
out
it's-
there.
I don't have any problem with it either way.
So I should proceed? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll make a motion for Marion County,
Oh,
Kansas.
I'm sorry, did you rescind your previous motion then?
Yeah, we
Withdraw?
just
we either
said.
need to rescind it or
Yeah.
do something formally. so-
Okay, so I'll rescind my initial motion due to the changes made in the
Was
wording.
it seconded?
No,
Okay,
it was never
fine.
seconded.
Okay, then we're good.
Okay.
Okay, so we got that, rescinded it? Okay. So, I'll make the motion for Marion County, Kansas, Resolution 2018-27, a resolution authorizing a vote to change the number of commission districts from 3 to 5. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Kent. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
No, I'm not opposed, I'm just thinking. Just say,
Oh, you're thinking?
yeah, I'm thinking a little bit here.
Okay.
You know, I think we're overruling the petition, and that's something that, even though it doesn't matter, because I've had people, I guess I will say aye to the first vote, yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, then I will need you all to sign this. And I'll give you all a copy of it.
I do have, my petition out in the car, I didn't bring all that stuff in, but just to kind of maybe ease your mind a little bit, Randy, we almost have the 400 right now, we have to have less than
It's not that many
400.
signatures.
And, no, it's not, it's really not, and I haven't even hit any place in the southern part of the county yet. I've been so busy running around.
I've got the petition if you want
He
to
has
look at
one
it.
down there, but I'm just saying, if you would like to look at the number of signatures, I'll just,
No,
I mean, there's very little doubt.
I've been in this game for quite a few years, and I know what people say, so.
Okay.
I got a bunch of them too.
So, but at any rate, oh,
That's just
so
Tom's.
this is just what Kent, what he has right here. He
Tom's
wanted to just see.
petition.
That's one's down south, I guess, so you go to the south. Okay, so, oh, so I think, so we're done with that then? Can I
Yes.
answer this, since you were handed this right here, and I can't remember, the question was, something about the changing of the leases, and I was gonna ask you this question. Actually, I posed this question, I should say, to the commission. And this was a little while back, when I first heard that Rex Savage was transferring his leases over to this company here, this expedition. And Emma came before us, Emma Teichman came before us, and had asked if she could consult Pat, and of course we said sure. Well, as it turned out, there's a lot of, and I say a lot, I don't know the number, several, shall we say, deeds and leases that have legal issues. So Pat is spending the time to fix those, and I'm not sure that we as a county should be paying for him to fix
Yeah,
that
is a good
mistake.
question. Because I know I got that initial call months ago, just inquiring about are these sufficient, and gave the general answer in terms of title standards, which kind of was the question I was asking about making sure there's a paper trail that's appropriate for transfers, because there's got to be public notice of who's the owner, that any of you or any of us, landowners in the county can go and check. I didn't know what was happening for there, I just knew I gave that answer, so they knew they were needing to get
Sure.
a bunch of additional information done, filed, and perfected. That is a good question, and that's one for you to some extent, and Pat can probably weigh in, but if you're paying
Thank you.
him by the hour for those
We don't
corrective
want him
measures.
working for us and them.
Yeah,
For a
that's
private
the
company,
issue, and
yeah.
that's what, that came up
Yeah.
with, you'll recall, early on, and I had heartburn with that,
Mhm.
and he backed away from that, so,
Mhm.
not sure if he's still doing that or not, I don't know, I haven't talked to him.
I haven't talked to him in a little while, a couple of weeks, but he was still working on them at that time. But he's fixing them for the company, so,
Is he fixing them or just telling them what they have wrong that he would not be able to approve
but I didn't
as
go
the
into that
county's?
detail.
Yeah, that's,
So he is
that's,
spending our time
yeah,
on that.
yeah.
I guess we need some clarification
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah, because it could get pricey really quickly, speaking from experience. By the time you go through, that stuff's like watching paint dry and going through and making sure all those
Oh.
Ts have been crossed and everything is properly filed. And you only get really one good shot at that, you know, to perfect it. You can do it later, but somebody else can intervene and give you problems and lapses and issues.
So maybe we should direct Mr. Jans to contact Pat to
Pat.
find out what's going on and where he's at.
I'll send him an email right away today probably and ask him what the status of that is, and if there's, in terms of these transfers, who's doing what and how.
Yeah.
Those are generic questions.
We don't want any conflict of interest on it.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, I don't want to pay for something that we shouldn't be paying for a private company. Okay.
The only other thing that was on your list was, you had asked about possibly changing the payday meeting structure. And so
Okay.
it would be nice if you are going to do that, if we know that before we go into the next month, before we start scheduling items on the agenda. So, what is
And
that?
I was under the impression that we already did that, that's why, and I apologize. I am tired because I stayed out yesterday late and I seen this great big packet. I didn't get a chance to read a lot of this stuff because I was so late. But I was under the impression that that's what we were gonna do today, just come in and do payday stuff.
Well, we
and
already
leave.
had,
So-
we already had things scheduled on the agenda from the beginning of the month before you even start talking about that.
See, I was just kind of off, so anyway.
I was just waiting for
Okay.
some actual, for sure direction on that. So if we decide to do that, then September, I need to, it would be nice to know.
And my only thought was, to be convenient to the public, you know, because last day of the month always, thank you, last day of the month always falls on an odd day and we never know when. Well, we can look at the calendar and know when, but I'm just saying, if we have meetings consistent every single Monday, the public is more aware of that. And then if they don't want to attend payday, that's fine. If they want to, they can, but anyway, go ahead, Ken, what do you have to say?
Well, another question.
Not to bring it back up, but, get you guys off track, but we're both wondering who Pat is.
Who what?
Pat Hughes.
Oh, yeah, Pat Hughes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought
I'm
it
sorry,
was.
yes, yes. Yeah, I thought, did you want to chime in?
He's a
Reschedule a payday. We're doing meetings every Monday and then just coming in and do payday
Right,
activities as a board.
that's what we had discussed prior, so I guess going forward, starting this month, other than.
That's what I just want a full consensus of the board,
Yeah,
that yes, this
other
is
than
what
this
we're doing.
Monday, I guess.
Yeah, holidays.
No, right, yeah, we won't do it this Monday. Randy, did you have some comments on that?
Oh, it's worked the way it has been for a lot of years.
We've always
They
done
still-
it.
They
I
still
like
get
that.
here.
Already done her.
They still get here. We haven't had no problems. When they complain, they get here, so. that's-
And like this
you know.
morning, I made phone calls. I called several people that normally show that didn't know there was an actual agenda today. Just assumed that it was gonna be just payday. So, but anyway, it doesn't matter to me if whatever makes
It
sense
could
of
be
having.
put on
hardware.
the website, I would guess, that Friday's just a payday meeting here.
A lot of people
So
don't
is that,
have websites.
I'm,
Still waiting, huh?
yes,
Okay, we need to make an absolute decision.
that
That's
would
what
be,
she's
that
wanting.
would be great.
Are we gonna have the meetings every Monday and then just come in on payday activities and take care of just payday activities? Or do you wanna do like we're doing now?
If there's not nothing on Mondays, sometimes you take the meetings off anyway, so you can do that too. I mean, if there's nothing on the board for that day.
Personally, I like consistency. But I like every Monday, and then whatever the board wants to do extra, we can do extra. If we don't want to do extra, we don't have to do extra.
So I would just, if you're gonna change the meeting structure, if you could just, do it to where payday is only for payday, that's fine. But then when the first time you have something come up where somebody really needs to take care of something and it's not necessarily waiting till the next week, and do I just tell them, no, I'm sorry, we're just doing payday only?
Yeah, I'd say, because normally speaking, what if that same scenario happens at the beginning of the month? We have our schedule for Monday and something comes up on Thursday. Well, they'd have to wait till the next Monday anyway.
Okay.
Unless it was urgent enough that we had to do a special meeting. Yeah, I think it's just could be the same thing.
Okay.
Sandy, you being quiet, are you still thinking?
Been waiting for a vote. Been waiting for a vote, see what's gonna happen.
Do we need to vote on it?
No, you didn't vote on it, and
We did.
if you, a consensus would probably be enough, but if you want to vote,
If you want to
That's
formalize it, you
fine.
can certainly vote too.
yeah, and sometimes it's best if there's
Well, I've heard we want
dissension.
formality, we want it down to the gnat's rear, so you gotta have.
You want formality,
Well, I've heard you say that, right here.
consistency?
Consistency, okay, we'll put it that way.
Okay. Okay, so then I'll make a motion to change the schedule, that we have regular commission meetings on every Monday of the month
At 9 o'clock.
at 9 o'clock. When the payday falls on another day than Monday, then it will be simply a payday meeting. Do I have, is that
I think that you may want, you may be too specific there, because
I'm too
you might be too specific, because
Okay.
there are some Mondays when the courthouse is not open, and by saying this that way, when you say you're gonna have it every single Monday,
Yeah, we'd be here.
Well,
we'd be
except
here
that's a
next
little bit
Monday.
too specific.
Okay, so we'll have it every Monday except the holiday Monday. Is that what you want me to insert? Every Monday except the holiday Monday.
I'm trying to think of that.
Okay, so I'll take out the word every. So I'll make a motion that the county commission has regular Monday meetings, except when they fall on holidays. And also, except for payday activities, will be the last day of the month as a special payday meeting. Is that, okay? Okay, do I have
Have
a,
we covered every Monday?
I think
except
we
for
have.
holidays?
I'll think that through. If for some reason we look at that and it creates a problem, I'll bring a resolution.
Yeah, thank you.
So do I have a second on that?
Okay, I'll second.
Second by Kent, all in favor say aye?
Aye.
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 In that resolution, there was no times mentioned, which was a good time thing, because every once in a while you may have to go earlier for elections or something to recap elections and things like that. You first said 9 when you first
I
started.
did,
When you
but
first started.
That's fine,
Yeah.
I understand
I just
that.
think that there's sometimes you may have to go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, and I didn't mention it the second time.
No, you didn't.
Okay, good, all right, that's fine. I'll be,
So payday won't always be on Monday?
that's right, it's Friday.
Payday is not always on Monday. I mean,
Okay,
it's
so,
not-
so that
Last
would be
day of the month.
separate from the Mondays?
Right.
Okay.
That's the whole goal, I
Gotcha.
think.
So we wouldn't have to
Basically-
be here.
Basically, they're just changing it to where the only thing they're gonna do on payday is payday,
Okay,
no other business.
whether it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday?
Yeah.
Right, it's gonna be the last working day of the month.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And people can still come, but a lot of people would not have come, but it's kind of boring watching us go through those pages.
What about paint drying? Do you guys sit there with you?
I know, and I do, as I'm sitting here, it kind of, honestly, it kind of intimidates me a little bit, because I know everybody's bored, and I'm trying to get through it fast,
Yeah.
and some of this stuff really should not be done fast.
They get bored, they can go out the door.
Even,
They do.
yes,
For coffee.
Randy,
It reminds me of that Men in Black, you guys should have 5 hands in the mailbox thing.
yes.
No smoking.
Oh,
Did you
Lord.
get an extra copy of the resignation by any chance?
We can certainly get you one.
Or I could borrow yours and make a picture of it?
You certainly may, however you would like.
Okay, I'll just take a picture.
All righty.
Oh, wait, that's.
Nice, short and sweet, huh?
Oh, yours is, okay.
Abbreviated.
Yeah.
Either we sort of address it today, or we address it, what, 10th? Well, Emma's gone between now and then. It should have been on today. We need to get a director over there, plus we've got this situation coming up, we need to get back on the agenda.
It is advertised, the director position is advertised.
Position, but I mean interim.
Interim, right.
There's a copy of it.
That's what I'm talking about, and I think. I meant
What
to come
day
in-
what day is her last night?
6.
7th.
Oh, 7.
Are you talking about Emma?
Yes.
Her last day is the 7th of September. It's next Friday, a week from today.
I just
Oh,
wanna see what it's.
Maybe give it on Monday.
we need to address that on Monday.
What are we addressing? Sorry.
An interim.
Oh,
And both places, you got ambulance, and you got here too,
Right.
so I
okay.
think it needs to be put up to see what we're gonna do.
Good
Okay.
point, good point. Okay.
I meant to get that in, and put that up there, and I forgot it.
Okay.
Because I knew it was coming up, but I didn't know it was a step, I was thinking it was earlier than that, I thought it was right after the holiday or something.
Okay, Randy, do you have any other business to
No.
discuss?
No. Okay.
Ken?
Do you want to have a special meeting to do that? Because you aren't meeting,
This Monday.
so are you going to meet Tuesday? Because we didn't have it on the calendar to meet Tuesday, since you met twice this week. We were still on our old schedule. So the next meeting that we have scheduled is the 10th.
Do you want to
Well,
address that
the
tonight?
7th is when the resignation was for her. so
Yes.
If we address it the 10th, I think that's good.
Okay, so you'll have some time with no one.
48 hours.
3 days, yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
I know where it'll go if you probably go to her anyway, so.
okay. Okay,
I think it would go to your assistant anyway. I would think.
if there are things that come up in the
Something
meantime.
happens, yeah.
Okay, sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay, so anybody out in the public have anything they want to bring to the commission at this time?
Just time.
Okay. Okay, well, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just
Okay, you just.
So the next meeting is still on the 10th,
getting
right?
ready.
Well, no, the next meeting will be on the 10th,
Okay, yeah, okay.
10th of September.
Get it
Sorry.
together.
Well, I wanna
I'm
make
really
sure-
not pointing it
I
at
wanna make
you.
sure it's not on Tuesday. I
Mute.
So, Mr. Gash, you have
Just
anything else?
teasing.
Yeah, one quick thing, because it could be
Yeah.
something that you get a phone
Where
call on, I never know on these kinds of things.
Okay.
We had discussed when Emma was here, several ongoing issues, and we had the one non-compliant property involving porch and some things. We did go ahead and send a letter, after looking at it for a while, the permit on that really has expired. And so in order for it to be renewed, there's been no activity that we can see. In order for it to be renewed, there needs to be an inspection. So we sent a letter indicating, I think, assuming the Senate, I approved it a couple of days ago. Hey, you need to renew your permit, which is fine, but we've got to come in and see what progress has been made so we know what the marker is. There's been no certificate of occupancy entered, no other further requests for review or inspection, no other physical activity on the outside of the structure that we can see, and since there's been no activity, it doesn't automatically extend beyond the original permit period. So we're at the point now of saying we need to come take a look at it, so that letter went out.
Is that for the property that had the extension build on, that they had the special meeting out there? So you're saying that so far they haven't started taking it down? Okay.
I hope I'm
And they were
answering for the right
supposed to
one.
have it down by now?
That I don't know.
Oh, I
That I
see.
don't know. I just know that this was on the one with the porch.
It was an extension
there-
somehow.
Okay, I'm sorry. The one, I know that there was one where it was deemed that it had to be taken off, but I'm not sure, I don't know that that's the same one you're
It may
talking
not be.
about. If you were talking about a certificate of occupancy, there was another one, and I'm not sure which
We've
one
got
it is.
two properties, and this is the one where, with the improvement district.
Yeah,
Maybe that's the
okay.
best way I can put it.
That's what I was wondering.
Uh,
So this is the.
And where they've said really the county needs to handle this, and it's a little difficult for us to do, based upon what has and has not been done. And I'm not advising our employees to attempt in some way without permission to go in or on those premises. So we looked at the alternatives to see what we could do, and realized that I asked, I said, where's our permit on this? And she said, the way it's written, they're kind of automatically extending as long as there's activity ongoing. I said, has there been? She said, not that I know of. I said, okay. So we sent out the notice saying that we don't have any substantiation or anything further, so it appears that it has lapsed in essence, and so we could certainly, we have to address that. If you want to continue your permit, that's fine, but then we need to inspect it to see where we are. And when it hasn't been done, how far along are you, so that we know what's, we can track further progress. So that's what we've done.
I don't remember there being any, the time frame we discussed. I don't remember hearing about a time frame, so I don't know what it would be.
You mean in terms of the permit? They run.
Well, I mean in terms of correcting the problem.
Oh, yeah, that I don't know. That
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not in the middle of, but I just know that we had the improvement district saying, hey, the county should do something about this. And we were eliminating various piece by piece things we didn't feel like we could do. So this is how we've addressed it. So it's moving in a direction. We'll see what happens.
Awesome, awesome.
I don't know that it's, that we can say the name, I don't know, but, at the time, but,
I know I couldn't say anything because I don't have any idea who it is. Come on.
Well, I knew the contractor was doing the work.
No.
No, this is
No,
a
no,
different
no.
one. This
No,
is
this
on
is
the.
different. This
So
is
we are
different.
talking about the wrong one.
Yes,
I'm
this,
talking about
you're
that.
talking about the one that was lean-to porches, or the porch added on.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's not what he's
Yeah,
talking
that's
about.
not the one.
Oh,
No.
this is a different one, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
this
so
is
you were
different.
thinking the same
Yeah.
thing.
No.
Okay.
And I apologize.
confused.
There are two of them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, no, this is,
This is about the one that the improvement district was
Okay.
having an issue with,
Yeah.
and
Right.
not.
Yes.
not,
They approached us.
There's
and
something about
sometimes
water
you
and
get
sewer.
calls on that
Yes.
sort of thing,
Mhm.
so just wanted to be aware we did find a way to begin to address it, or at least attempt to.
I don't
Is it
know.
the one, okay, so it's the one down at the water crossing bridge?
I don't know if I can mention any names,
I don't
because I don't know if it was
see
an
why not.
executive party. I don't know if it was an
Oh.
executive session or not.
Well, I just wondered
Well,
if
we're
the
not in
approximation
executive
of
session
where.
though, right?
But if it was talked about in executive session, I don't think it was, but
I can't remember where it is for the moment.
Okay, okay. So
I'll get
anyway, you're
all the
working on it. The
information.
bottom
Yeah.
line is that you're working on it for a solution.
Yes,
Awesome.
yes, and may have found a way to at least, we found a way to at least address it.
Awesome.
Oh,
Okay,
hopefully, yeah.
perfect. I like that. Yeah, wonderful.
Can you say in the south
No.
part of the county, north part of the county?
South, north-south part. Yes,
North, south, east, west part?
yes, there you go.
Within
I
the
can
boundaries of
definitively
Marion
confirm it
County.
is
Okay, in Marion, what's that?
It's in the county,
Okay, thank
definitely
you,
in our
Brad.
county.
That clears it up.
Yeah, there you go.
There's my,
So Brad, how would you like to be our administrator? How would you like that?
I have been offered those jobs periodically before, and
I
I'm always
can- I can
flattered, but always
believe
said no.
I wouldn't do it.
Well, at any rate, okay, I'm sorry. Does anybody else have anything else?
just one thing, I would like to start the conversation again about county administrator position, or at least the discussion.
Certainly. Is that everything then, Ken?
That's it.
Randy?
Nothing more.
All right, then I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Second by Randy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I think this is a good day to go home and take a nap.
Well, I can't, now that you guys have messed me up.
Okay, I've got CMS.
Where you are.
Oh, yes,
I don't know if I'm gonna write them all. I thought I had this morning, and so I saw it.
Well,
I did, I thought I had all day right.
Just don't forget, I need.
let me do that first.